Welcome, all my fellow Washington brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Washington football team fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on Washington Football Overtime. 17-13 is your final score. Washington gets the victory over the Cincinnati Bengals in what I probably would term a very sloppy football game, but it's a preseason game. This is what you should expect. I mean, generally around the league, you get these types of games. The scores are really similar to this. I've talked about this already. If your team has depth, which Cincinnati does, they don't have their quarterback right now, but they've got depth. If nothing else, it's going to be a tight ball game. It's not going to get out of control unless one team makes a ton of mistakes, and you're going to end up with one of these types of games. You know, it's not going to be too many 35-0 like we saw yesterday with the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. Won't be too many 33-6s like we saw with the Denver Broncos over the Vikings last week. Most of the games will look like this. They'll come down towards the end. Guys are fighting for their, careers and their football lives, so they're going to play hard. And these are the kinds of games you're going to get. When you talk about the first team and what we saw, I got exactly what I expected out of the defense. I told you I would be disappointed if the defense didn't dominate this game because there was no Joe Burrow. None of the quarterbacks on that roster in Cincinnati, other than Joe Burrow, should strike fear in anyone's heart. You don't have to have a dominant defense to shut them down offensively without Joe Burrow. None of those quarterbacks, Brandon Allen, none of those guys on that roster do anything. They don't move the needle. So I expected us to dominate their first team offense because, simply put, they don't have enough firepower at the quarterback position. That said, Jamar Chase dropped about 2 passes. They missed an open receiver on a third down that would have been, I think, not only a first down, but a nice sizable gain. Nonetheless, the defense did what they had to do. The Bengals were 0 of 6 on third down. I think they had a total of 22 yards of offense, and they scored 3 points because the offense turned the football over deep in their own territory. So all in all, the defense did what they were supposed to do. It wasn't a dominant performance or anything of the sort, if you ask me. I thought they did what they were supposed to do to an inferior opponent. So kudos to the defense for doing what they were supposed to do, especially without your 2 starting corners. Kudos for them going out and doing what they were supposed to do. On the offensive side, left a lot to be desired, but I need you guys to understand that this is who we are offensively, and we're going to be better, okay? We don't have all of our pieces. They're trying to keep everything vanilla. They don't want to show too much. You're not necessarily game planning to go at a team. All of these things are true, but you can still execute better. The stuff that you do run, you still can execute it better. That's the name of the game. In the preseason, look, we're not looking to get exotic out here. We're not looking to put a lot on film for other teams to examine as you get closer to the season. But you do want to see execution. You do want to see guys do their job to the best of their capabilities and at a high level. And I don't think we saw that necessarily tonight on the offensive side consistently with the first team offense. I thought De'Ami Brown had a drop, even though he had a big catch down the sidelines. It was good to see him get involved, but he had a drop on a great escape out of the pocket by Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's got to catch that football, sliding catch right there in the pocket. He's made the pocket for the football. You got to catch that. You got to come down with that. So a missed opportunity there. I thought Fitz missed a Logan Thomas open on a third down. A little bit too far out in front of him. That would have been a conversion. Instead, you got to punt the football. It's little mishaps like that. You got Logan Thomas winning on a seam ball, and Fitz airmails it, 3 yards over his head, and that drive ends up resulting in a field goal attempt. Like, these are the things you have to find a way to get done. He's got Adam Humphries on a slot fade, and I don't know where that football was. I don't know what he was trying to do, but how about you just throw a back shoulder fade on the fade route? The defender's not looking. He tried to put that over the defender with touch. You're not getting that over that defender. You're going to have to throw a bullet towards the outside shoulder, let him adjust, or something along those lines, or similar to the pass you threw Logan Thomas last week on that back shoulder pass. there was no sync. There was no synchronicity. We saw sync last week. We saw timing. We saw rhythm with this offense. We saw none of that with Fitzpatrick, it seemed like, for most of his throws in this particular game. I thought Antonio Gibson was extremely sharp tonight. Thought he looked really good. If we're talking about guys that had strong performances, he was one of those guys. Again, I'm going to have to go back and watch the game over again so I can focus in on individual performances and players and what they were doing. However, just off of first blush, I thought the running back stepped up between Patterson and Gibby. I thought they were the best players on the field offensively for Washington on the evening. How about Antonio Gandy Golden, the Gandy man, AGG? You down with AGG? Yeah, you know me. Who's down with AGG? You know your man, Louie Tee, is down with AGG. And I thought he was outstanding tonight. Again, confidence. That's all it is. Guy just has to build confidence, man. Had about 4 or 5 grabs tonight. That 2-point conversion, that's what they want from him. You got a defender draped all over him. He's not going to be this massive separator. Everybody keeps talking about separation. That's not who he's going to be. What he needs to do is when a guy's draped all over him, still come down with the football. Get off me, little man. This is some top shelf stuff. You stay down there where you belong. That's what he did on that 2-point conversion. That's what we want to see more of. Take that away from those young boys, man. The little guys, they don't get to eat. So I thought he had a strong performance tonight. I thought that Taylor Heineke looked good. I thought he used his legs a lot. And he was decisive in his decision-making. Not always accurate. The ball that was almost picked off in the red zone, that wasn't a good ball from him. I think he was kind of backpedaling there, didn't get enough on it. But outside of that, at one point he was 9 of 9 in the football game. I think, what did he finish? 11 of 13. Not a lot of yards, 80 yards. So it's not like he was over here tearing it up. But he was quick with his decision-making. He was decisive. He got the football where it needed to go. And when he didn't like what he saw, he got the hell out of Dodge. So at the end of the day, I know there are going to be a lot of you who are disappointed with the offensive performance. There are going to be weeks like this in the regular season, not necessarily where we only score, 17 points in it. This is the thing. We would love it if the first team offense scored some points in the preseason. They haven't scored yet. All the points that have come by this team in the preseason thus far has been the second or third team offense. First team offense hasn't accounted for a single point, and some of that is due to Dustin Hopkins not being able to put the football through the uprights, but that's no here nor there. We would like to see them get in the end zone. They haven't been able to do that. They've moved it in the field goal range, but they haven't been able to punch the football into the end zone. Eventually that will happen. I don't know how much they're going to play in week 3 of the preseason versus Baltimore. I don't think Ron was very pleased with the offense's performance. So I surmise that we will see those guys, even if it's only for a couple of possessions against Baltimore, or he could use that as a dress rehearsal. And Ron, I keep leaning towards him using it as a dress rehearsal because he keeps talking about how we'll have 2 full weeks to rest after that 3rd preseason game. So I think he is leaning more towards playing both the starters on both sides of the football for an entire half and having these guys kind of continue to get their legs up under them in terms of football legs. So in any event, I don't want to talk your head off. I want to get to what you guys are talking about. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. And we will start the festivities off with Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 01. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, put them up, Lou. AGG making a comeback. JP for MVP. So the bottom line is AGG, to me, until he doesn't make the roster, is making the roster. You guys know how I feel about that. I don't think that DeAndre Carter did anything exceptional tonight. I know AGG didn't do DeAndre Carter any favors by missing a block on a wide receiver screen. Like, I know you're trying to make the team and you don't want him making the team over you, but you missing a block for a pass that he's supposed to be catching isn't going to help you make the team. So And I'm not saying that's why he did that. He didn't sabotage him because he knows that's not going to help him make the football team. But at the end of the day, DeAndre Carter didn't do anything of note. I don't think I've seen this guy catch a pass and do anything as an offensive weapon. The only contribution we think he's bringing to the table right now is as a punt returner. You can find somebody else to field punts. I feel like he doesn't have to be back there if he's not going to serve a purpose, whether it be on special teams or as a receiver. Like, he's got to make sure he's bringing some real value to the table in order to unseat a guy like AGG, who they spent the draft pick on. So I still have come to the conclusion that AGG is going to be on this roster. I mean, how can you not come away from this preseason game if you weren't already feeling that way after last preseason game that Jaret Patterson's on this roster? Like, I didn't feel like it was a lock that the guy was on the roster after last week's game, but I said what he effectively did was he put his foot in between the door and the entranceway, and he's keeping it from shutting, and he's trying to go in. The door is open. He's in now, and I don't think there's any way you can get this guy out of it unless something crazy happens. And you know what I'm referring to. I'm not going to say it. So he's making his football team, and the fact that this guy returned a kickoff 37 yards tonight only strengthens his case because he can add more value as a kick returner too. So I don't understand anybody that doesn't think this guy's going to be on the roster. They're keeping 4 running backs. I told you I already had built that in. I gave you my numbers already on the offensive side of football as to what I thought they were going to do. He's going to be on this football team, and I think he pretty much solidified that case tonight with another strong outing. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 01. Atlas 013, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Atlas 013, who writes, say it with me, Jaret Patterson. Absolutely. Jaret Patterson, without a doubt, is on this football team. It's a remarkable story. You know, they showed the clip of, you know, his home with his mom and his dad and the shrine that they have built, you know, in their basement where they watch the games. And it's a pretty cool story, man. And grew up a lifelong Washington fan. This is what he wants. This is what he's dreamed of. And he's going to achieve this dream. He's going to be on this roster come week 1. And he may be a contributor. I mean, the assumption is they may only dress 3 backs on game day. And that could be a realistic possibility. But if he continues to be a force on special teams as even just a kick returner, he could unseat Danny Johnson, because I thought Danny Johnson did some good things tonight. I still think Danny Johnson's going to make the football team, but it's getting interesting at the cornerback position. Like, I'm looking around and I'm like, this Torrey McTyer guy, I don't think they're cutting this guy. I don't think he's going away, man. I don't know how good he is on specials, but I don't know if this young fella's going away. And if he makes the team, somebody else isn't making the team. And that somebody is starting to look like Danny Johnson. Because if we look at the cornerback position for a second, I still think they're keeping Troy Apke. I don't think Trapp is going anywhere. Keep telling you guys that because of his special teams prowess. We know Kendall Fuller, we know William Jackson III, we know Jimmy Moreland, and we know Juice are all making this team. Jimmy Moreland's making this football team. That's 4 guys right there. Trapp is 5. I said they're keeping 6 corners because of Trapp. If they keep 6, the 6th guy is going to come between Torrey McTyer and Danny Johnson. I thought Danny Johnson was going to make this team hands down. This Torrey McTyer guy isn't going away. So it'll be pretty interesting. But, you know, Jaret Patterson is a guy that if he can return kickoffs, and he showed us he can do that tonight, then there's really no use for Danny Johnson unless, and Danny's a core special teamer. I don't want you guys to forget about special teams and how important it is in making these decisions when you get to the back end of the roster. Danny Johnson is a core special teamer. And Danny can serve as a punt returner too. So there is extra value in Danny Johnson, the punt returner, which we still don't have a definitive answer as to who's the guy. Right now, we assume that's DeAndre Carter, but I still don't want to put him on the roster. So there's so many questions left unanswered. Right now, it's got to be – they put so many guys. I thought Ron used this game as an audition. He put so many guys in different positions that it's hard to really get a read on what the hell is actually going on with this roster. Guys were getting in early reps. He put at least 3-4 different guys back on punt returns. He put 3 or 4 guys back on kickoff return tonight. I'm seeing Daniel Wise in the game as the 4th defensive end. With James Smith-Williams, there was no, William Bradley King or Shaka Toney. It was Daniel Wise. What? Like, he was just rotating guys in, and they were all over the place. So it's hard to get a read on the roster right now off of the rotation that we saw in the game tonight. Thank you for the super chat, Atlas013. Got another super chat. This one is from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Metaphor, who writes, "Hey, Lou, what's up, Mob fan? Been saying that JP making this team since June, and you'd see the third string cheerleaders in there late in the fourth. I didn't see the third string cheerleaders in there late in the fourth, but he's making his football team. I wasn't convinced he was making the team. I'm not going to sit here and try to take credit for something that I didn't think was going to take place. I didn't think he was going to make the football team. Listening to everybody talk, especially running backs coach Randy Jordan, it just seemed like they were going to keep 3 guys. And I didn't see him unseating any of the guys that were already there. And he's not unseating any of those guys. That's the important thing to keep in mind. He's adding to that group. They can't afford to cut Jaret Patterson. He's doing too well in preseason. He's playing too well. They can't. Now, again, you cut him. He has the right to refuse other teams' offers to play on other teams and come back to Washington. But it's hard to turn down an actual 53-man roster spot where you're guaranteed your full salary for the entire year if you sign with another team before week 1. It's hard to turn that down. So, we can sit here and talk about boyhood dream, childhood team wants to put on for the city and this, that, and the third, but money talks and everything else walks. So it'll be interesting to see what's done, but my mind's made up. He's making his football team. That's why they're putting him on kickoff returns and things of that nature, to make sure that there are other things that he can do to justify them putting him on the roster. And he's checking off every single box. Every test that they give him, he's passing with flying colors. So there's no doubt in my mind he is going to be on this football team. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. EJB, thank you for the super chat, EJB. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, EJB, writes, word has it Forrest is still chasing that play action toss from the beginning of the third quarter. Hey, that's what you get with some of these young boys, man. They bite on that. They bite the cheese, man. They take the bait. A lot of these young boys take the bait, man. It's tough because you don't see a lot of this stuff in college. You don't see a quarterback under center, and you don't see that hard fake toss boot to the other way. It's not a lot of that going on in the collegiate game, So the keys are totally different in the college game. The quarterback's rarely under the center. So there are different things that you're looking at. And yeah, man, that was rough, to say the least. That's some rough stuff, man. But you know what was crazy? Speaking of Derek Forrest, if we keeping it a buck, he got in really early, man. He got in before Jeremy Reeves and DeShazer Everett. Again, I don't think I need to put too much stock into that, because I told you Ron was just throwing dudes out there. Like, all right, let me see what this guy going to do. I'm going to put him in here early in the second quarter. Let me see how he reacts to that. I think he really just wanted to gauge how guys would perform getting earlier run. It's easy to go out there and play carefree when you're in the third quarter with a bunch of guys that aren't going to make the team, and you're playing against guys that aren't going to make that team and may not even be in the league. It's easy to go out there and play carefree. What happens when they still got in some of their starters and we got in some of our starters, and we really looking at you and we want to see how you're going to play? And they put some of these boys in there really early, man. Again, I think Ron was really trying to test a lot of guys to see how they would respond in these situations. So it's a lot to kind of digest from tonight's game, for sure. Thank you for that super chat, EJB. Damn Twin Shorty Sublime. Thank you for the super chat, Damn Twin Shorty Sublime. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what up, fam? What up? Damn Twin says, who do you think gets bumped off if and when JP and AGG make this team? Well, we already know what it would be for AGG, and it's not always, a lot of times we always make it out to be receiver versus receiver if it's a guy we're talking about at the receiver position. It's not always that. That's not always the case. Sometimes that receiver means one less corner, or that receiver means one less linebacker, or that receiver means one less defensive end. Like, it's not always, two guys at the same position competing for one spot. Sometimes it's another guy at a different position whose spot is going to be trimmed off to make way for a guy at a totally different position. So, I think sometimes we really try to make these competitions out to be something really easy to assess. Oh, it's two receivers for one spot. That necessarily isn't the case. It could be a receiver versus a corner. Which one helps better on special teams and still adds more value to the team overall. And if the wide receiver wins out, then the corner isn't going to be. They won't keep a sixth corner, and they may only go with 5. So I think with AGG, I seriously think that him and, believe it or not, Jaret Patterson may be tied at the hip, because if Jaret Patterson can show them that he can handle some of the responsibilities that a guy like DeAndre Carter would be handling, that may give them the free rein to say, hey, DeAndre, we really like you, and we want you to stick around, but we want you on the practice squad. And give AGG the nod. And we know Jaret Patterson's making this team, but it could be a case where, in a situation where Patterson still makes the squad, but so does DeAndre Carter. You know what I'm saying? Because they still don't trust anybody to field punts other than Carter. That's why they're throwing so many guys back there. I think Steven Sims is cooked. I didn't think he was going to make the team. I didn't want to count him out. I didn't think he did himself any favors tonight. And it's not like he was terrible or he had a drop or something like that, but he didn't do anything on kickoff. He had a kickoff return where he fell down. You had him on a punt return. That wasn't all that great. And then you had him, short arm a ball across the middle. I mean, he was going to get waxed. He made a business decision. I'd like to see him turn his back, protect himself, take the shot, come down with the football. Those are the types of plays you got to make if you want to make the team. But he was put in a tough spot there. He was going to get walloped. And he still got hit, which is my thing as a receiver. You're going to get hit anyway. Catch the ball, And he still got hit pretty good. So he's not making the football team. He doesn't add any more value with returns. He doesn't do anything extra to make the coaching staff say, we got to have this guy on the team. So I really think it's just AGG. And a lot of you keep saying, what are they going to do to make space for AGG? In my mind, there isn't making space for AGG. He was never off the roster for me. He was always on the roster. So for you guys, you got to ask yourself, who are you taking off the roster to put him on if you didn't think he was going to make the team? Because I've long said I thought he was going to make the team. I still could be wrong. He still could not be on this team. And he could make the team, and he may have been on the outside looking in, and they may have been prepared to have someone else make the team, and then they walk that back, take that guy off, and add AGG in. For me, he was always on the team. So I don't have to remove anyone for him. For Jaret Patterson, I've said that I think his being on the roster means one less linebacker. That's what I've said in my head. I could be wrong about that, because linebackers are your core special teamers. They play every single special teams, and I don't think they brought David Mayo here for no reason. So I still think it's 6 linebackers, but are they going to get rid of David Mayo? I don't know. Do they really like Phillips? I don't know. We're going to see. And they're keeping 6 at least at the linebacker position. The question is it 7? I think with Jaret Patterson being on the roster, I think linebacker gets trimmed to 6, not 7. So we'll see. Thank you for the super chat, Damn Twin Shorty. Sublime. Randy Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Randy Butler, writes, what's good, Lou? What's good, Randy? Says, it's been a minute. Sure has. Says, Patterson definitely locked up a spot on the roster with his performance tonight. I swear, Lou, he reminds me so much of Ricky Irvins. He's got the same kind of stature. I think he's more thickly built than Ricky Irvins, but I could see the comparison. I definitely could see that, man. He's got that same kind of, low center of gravity that Ricky Irvins had. He's quick like Ricky Irvins was. I think he might be a little bit faster than Ricky Irvins was, but I can see that comparison. I really can see that comparison. That's a good one there. You're right. I agree with you, Randy. I think he locked up the spot tonight. I thought he was already trending in that direction after last week's performance and, what the coaching staff was doing with him in practice leading up to this game in terms of them getting him more involved, getting him first team reps, putting him back on special teams. These are all signs that they're trying to make themselves feel more comfortable with him being on the roster by validating his position with more things that he can do. Ron always talks about positional flex. The more you can do, the more you help yourself on the roster. Them putting him in those positions, them putting him in with first team reps, all of those things pointed to him, being closer to making this football team. I think tonight solidified it. Jaret Patterson's going to be on this football team. I'm with you, Randy. Thank you for the super chat, Randy Butler. Got another super chat. This one is from my guy, Hunter Hodovic. Thank you for the super chat, Hunter Hodovic, who writes, let's go, T. First W of the year. Heineke looking consistent. JP with another monster game. AGG bounced back, and the defense was fun to watch. Love it. I mean, you pretty much hit all of the main talking points, with the exception of one. Dustin Hopkins went 3 for 3 in the game. Outside of that, and he made his extra point. So Dustin Hopkins went 4 for 4 if you count the extra point. We're not counting that, though. You should make the extra point. Here's the thing. All of his field goals tonight were chippies. He wasn't tested. I wanted one of these bad boys to be from 48. It was 34, it was 31, and I think it was 31 again. And then he made a 33-yard extra point. So I don't think he was pushed. I don't think that we should feel like we're out of the woods. But I'm a Dustin Hopkins fan, and when he gets into a rhythm, he can be a really good kicker. They showed his numbers from last year. Remember, there was a stretch where every game we knew he was going to miss one. All right, D-Hop, get it out of your system early, and then he'd be fine. And then as we got towards the end of the season, there were no more games like that. He finished up the season 14 of 15, and his one miss, I think they said, came from, 40 and beyond, which, again, you got to make those. If it's 50-something, I get that. But that's no here nor there. He missed one kick out of 15 kicks, down the stretch, final 6 weeks of the season. So he was good, and that's why they feel good about him. And I think he's going to be fine. I really do. But I wanted to see some further kicks. I wanted to see him kicking from 45, from 48, from 51. That would have really told me, okay, he's starting to gain that confidence back. But we didn't get that tonight. Look, all he can do is go out there and do his job when his number was called. He was called on the field for a 34, a 31, and a 31, and he deposited each and every single one of those kicks through the uprights. That's all we can ask from him. So he did his job tonight. Thank you for the super chat, Hunter Hodovic. Got another one here from Atlas013. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Atlas013. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'm beyond done with Steve Sims. I need that ball. Yeah, I mean, that was a tough one. But if you want to make the team, you got to be able to find a way to come down with that. Now, again, he's got to be able to contort his body. Like, his eyes immediately went to the safety. I don't blame him. If you've never been in that position, then you don't know what it's like to feel that guy bearing down and you know that you're going to take a massive shot. It's hard to concentrate on the football at that point because you're thinking about this hit that's coming. You've got to be able to turn your body and turn your back to him, and because he had enough time to do that. He had enough time to run, turn his body, put his body in between the defender and the football, take the shot and catch it. but he decided, I'm going to alligator arm this thing and brace for contact instead. And again, if you're trying to make the football team, that one catch wasn't going to change his fortunes. And I don't think he understands anything. I don't think he's conceding anything, but in his mind is like, get a concussion and come down with this thing, or live to fight another day and have this thing be incomplete. In his mind, I'm going to just live to fight another day because this isn't going to make or break me making the team. You know what I'm saying? So even if I'm not here, which I don't think anybody's coming for Steven Sims Jr., but you never know. But I don't think anybody's coming for him. He could be on the practice squad. So we'll see what happens. But in any event, he's not making the team, man. I didn't think he was making it before, and this didn't change my mind. Last week's game didn't change my mind. I'm just more definitive now. I didn't want to count him out. I didn't want to say he wasn't going to make the game. He made a nice catch last week. I said he's on a respirator, but he's not dead yet. His roster spot is dead now. He's not going to make this football team. So thank you for the super chat, Atlas013. Got another one here from Billy A. Thank you for the super chat, Billy A. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, my power went out, but I thought I saw DeForest starting over Everett and Reeves. How was AGG? Fitz was all over. Kind of scared me. Okay, so Derek Forrest did get in before DeShazer Everett and Jeremy Reeves. So you're spot on there. That did happen. So your eyes were not deceiving you. AGG had his best game to date in his career. Okay, it was not even close. Had 4 grabs. Let's check the numbers. I bet you it was 4 grabs for probably close to 45 yards or so. Let's check the numbers real quick. He had 3 catches for 38 yards. Did Gandy Golden 3 for 38. So most catches on the team, and I think the most yards too. So yeah, he led the team in catches and yards, and he had 3 targets. He caught all 3 of them. So and then so the 4th catch that I'm thinking of is the 2-point conversion. So he did have 4 catches. The 2-point conversion was the final of those 4 catches. They're not going to count that because it's not a live ball catch, but 4 catches for him, including a 2-point conversion. So Antonio Gandy Golden was outstanding tonight. So yes, he played well. Didn't miss a block. I can't leave that out. He had a one job to do on a wide receiver screen to DeAndre Carter, and he totally whiffed. His guy ends up making the tackle for about a 3 or 4 yard loss. That was totally on Antonio Gandy Golden. Fitz was all over, but that's, again, I keep trying to tell you guys about Fitz. You guys want to turn him into this rock star and that this guy, look, he's going to have good games, really, really good games. And he's going to have games that look like this, where he's sporadic. He's spraying the ball all over the place. He may throw it to the other team once or twice. Prepare yourself for this. It's the reason why this guy has never been the guy in his career. And it's the reason why I think we're an 8-9 win team. So, and if you think Heineke's going to come in and do a ton better, he may, but he's going to make mistakes too. Okay? He almost threw a pick today in the red zone that didn't have to be thrown. De'Ami Brown was wide open, and don't ask me what he was doing there, but he almost threw a pick. Like, you're going to get mistakes out of Heineke too. So prepare yourself for this. I've tried to prepare you guys for a lot of things. I told you De'Ami Brown's going to have some drops. Prepare yourself. He needs to catch that ball. He didn't catch it. Prepare yourselves for things like that. They're going to happen throughout the course of the season. But he bounced back and he made a big play down the sidelines. He's capable of doing both. Same thing with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's capable of making some outstanding throws. That play that he threw to De'Ami Brown when he went for the sliding grab and he dropped it, that's a hell of a play by Fitz. There's pressure in his face. He eludes the rush, rolls out to his right, makes a perfect throw, and De'Ami drops it. You're going to get these things from Ryan Fitzpatrick. They're going to be days like this. Trust me. If you've watched his career, then you know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. But if you're falling into the trap of thinking that this guy is going to tear it up this year and he's going to have a career year and it's going to be like, Rich Gannon or Kurt Warner or something like that, then you might be getting your feelings hurt this year. But we'll see. Billy A., all I can tell you is don't be scared. A wise man told me, don't be scared. Be careful. Just be careful. I can't say what the wise man told me. That's why I froze up. I shouldn't say what the wise man told me. But be careful. All right. Don't be scared. Be careful. That's all I'm going to tell you. Thank you for the super chat, Billy A. Fat American. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Fat American, writes, have to say the O-line play has increased big time. I thought the O-line was okay. I didn't think they were great. I got to go back and watch. I've tried to convey this message to you guys on a number of different occasions. This isn't a power offensive line. I think that was evident on the 4th down run that we failed to pick up. They didn't get any movement, no penetration, or they didn't get any movement on that Cincinnati defensive line, and Gibby was stymied. I think it was Gibby that ran that play, but somebody in the mob squad said, Gibby can run on those 3rd and shorts, kind of insinuating we don't need Peyton Barber. I think that's what that was essentially the message trying to be conveyed there. And I swear I went looking for that comment after Gibby failed to pick up that 4th down. Because I'm telling you right now, the Barber, he gets that 1st down. And that's why you need him. As much as you want to run him off the roster, he's this, he only does this, he only has one job, he only gets 1 yard. And every time he gets stopped in the backfield, on a 2nd down carry, he only can get 1 yard. Well, guess what? We needed 1 yard and we didn't get it on 4th down. That's where games are won and lost. Can you pick up a yard when the other team knows you're running to pick up a yard? And Peyton Barber picks up a yard. That itself is worth its weight in gold. So if you don't understand the value of a Peyton Barber, then you simply don't get it. He converts that 4th down. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Thank you for the super chat, Fat American. Got another super chat. This one is from Brandon Hayes. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon Hayes, who writes, that 35 looks like he belongs. He does. I'd love to get him in a different jersey number, though. That 35 is hideous. Who's the last guy to wear 35? Monte Nicholson, right? His rookie season. He was 35, right? Yikes. We got to get him in a 20-something, man. I don't know if there are any 20-somethings available. Maybe after these cuts, there will be. We got to get this guy in a 20-something, though. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, Jimmy's 20. No one's wearing 21. Everett's 22. William Jackson III's 23. Gibby's 24. Juice is 25. Landon Collins is 26. We never have a 27. Who's 27? We got to have somebody wearing 27, right? Who's 27? We never have anybody. I can't remember anybody really rocking 27 since Smoot. I'm pretty sure like Walt Harris had 27 after Smoot, but who wears 27? Nobody ever wears 27. Is something wrong with that number? I'm trying to think. Am I missing something? Am I missing a guy? Does somebody have 27 right now and I'm having a brain fart? 28, obviously, is Darryl Green. Nobody's wearing that. And 29, somebody on the roster has 29. Just can't remember. Kendall Fuller has 29. So what's wrong with 27, man? Like, we got to get this dude in the 20s. None of those guys I just named are getting cut. So 27 is it. And I don't know if there's a 27 currently on the roster. I'm curious now. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see if there's a 27 on the roster real quick. As I'm I'm at a loss as to why nobody ever wears 27. It's not a historical number. We just don't wear it for whatever reason. Let's check these numbers out real quick. I'm not tripping. Nobody on the roster has 27. He should be 27 then. Shit. Get him out of 35, man. That shit is hideous. Anyway, he belongs. You're right about that. I'll give you that. Fat American, thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Fat American. I knew what you meant. I thought you put improved. Did you not put improved? Increased. Okay. Yeah, I knew what you meant. They improved big time. I got you, bro. I know what you meant. Thank you for that super chat. Got another one here from Derek B. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Derek B. writes, BSJ, third down PBU. That's an inside thing between me and Derek B, because one of my knocks on Benjamin St. Juice was he didn't get interceptions. He gets pass breakups, but he doesn't get interceptions. But my guy Derek B said, look, pass breakup on third down is just as good as a pick because they were getting off the field and the offense is getting the ball. And I always tell him it's like Hertz, okay? Like the car rental company Hertz. If you remember those commercials back in the day, they'd say, hey, are you getting that rental from Hertz? And the guy says, not exactly. Are you getting curbside service like Hertz? Not exactly. Are they going to pick you up from your house? Not exactly. It's like Hertz. Not exactly. You know, you get a third down pass breakup, you punt the ball, and now the punter flips field position and he punts it 56 yards. Now you got to start all the way back there. You pick it off, you're right there wherever you get tackled. So it's a big difference in field position, but I get the premise. A pass breakup, you'll take it all day, every day. He says, D-Hop still with 3 field goals, short field goals. I told you guys, he's not going anywhere. And albeit 3 short ones, and I've already explained that, he made them all. And that's the important thing. So all I want to see is him continue to gain confidence in the process and him continuing to put it through the uprights. I honestly wanted them to kick that, that last field goal, that last possession. I was hoping that Williams didn't pick up that last first down. That would have forced them to either go for it or kick a field goal. I think they would have sent the field goal unit out there personally, but maybe they wouldn't have, because kicking a field goal would have put you up 7, then you would have had to play defense. I don't know. I wanted to see him kick a longer field goal. That was basically what I wanted to see. But nonetheless, yeah, like I said about Juice, anything underneath, I feel confident in him. That one he defended in the end zone, he was beat slightly, but he was right there. And the thing I loved is something I didn't see enough of him in college. He turned to try and locate the ball. If you're going to hand fight and you're going to be physical, let's get physical. If you're going to get physical and you're going to be down there hand fighting, if you want to save your ass, turn and try to locate. The officials will let you get away with some extracurricular activity if you turn to locate. If you just face guarding and you over there fighting and fidgeting around, they're going to think you're molesting that guy and they're going to throw the flag. So I love the fact that even though it was late, he got that head around, and I thought that saved him because there was some hand fighting going on. So I like Juice. I like Juice a lot, underneath especially. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Jason Fios, thank you for the super chat, Jason Fios. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Jaret Patterson got more looks returner, so it will be easier to keep Matire over Danny and or AGG over Carter. Your thoughts? So it's not about kickoff return for me with DeAndre Carter, because he's not really the primary kickoff return guy anyway. I mean, theoretically he could be, but you can find anybody to stick back there. At one point, Danny Johnson was the primary kickoff return man. I think they're comfortable putting a slew of guys back there. It doesn't take much to return a kickoff. It's the punt returning duties that I'm worried about. That's why DeAndre Carter is on the roster, in certain people's eyes right now. is because we still don't have a definitive. And after tonight, it's even more convoluted than it ever was before because he sent the kitchen sink back there to return punts tonight. The only guy that didn't get a chance to return a punt was Jaret Patterson. Everybody else got back there, and they got back there fairly early. Steven Sims Jr. got a chance. Dax Milne got one. I think he was back there for like the second punt return. Of course, DeAndre Carter got the first one. And I think Dax had two. Carter might have had two. Steven Sims had one. I'm like, man, he's throwing everybody back there. So it isn't necessarily kickoff return for me. It's more of punt return duty. That's the one that I think is the most intriguing because we still don't have a definitive answer back there. And I think the guy they're most comfortable with in that role right now is DeAndre Carter. And that may be his saving grace. So that'll be interesting, again, to continue to find out. Like if we hear during practice this week, Jaret Patterson is fielding punts, and then we actually see him fielding punts in the game against the Ravens in week 3, and he does an admirable job, that could be all we need to see to figure out, okay, they about to get rid of DeAndre Carter. They're phasing him out, But I don't know if you realize we got a lot less of DeAndre Carter with the ones in the football game. Remember the first preseason game, he was in on the second possession. It might have even been on the tail end of the first possession. He was in early. It was all Diami and Terry, and then when they went to 3, it was Humphreys. Excuse me. I don't think we saw DeAndre Carter get in at receiver until the second team got in, till it was a full lineup change. So I think they're trying to pull him back as far as the reps he's getting. They're giving him the other guys that they, think have a chance to. I mean, I think Dax Milne got in the game at receiver before he did. So, I mean, we keep talking about AGG. Don't discount Dax Milne. They like him a lot. So it's getting interesting at the receiver position, to say the least. Jaret Patterson isn't up for discussion. And I really think McTyer, it was very telling to me, and I put this in the mob squad, was one of the first comments I said was, well, we know the 2 corners are out. No Fuller, no William Jackson tonight. So I thought it was going to be Jimmy and Juice. Give me some Jimmy and Juice. Lay back. I thought it was going to be Jimmy and Juice. And they was like, nah. We got McTyer over here, man. We got some Torrey McTyer for you. I said, okay. All right then. Statement made. So I'm not sure, man. She's getting really interesting. Because I'm looking at Danny out of the side of my eye like, hey, Danny, man, shit's getting tight, bro. Didn't feel like this last week. Shit's getting tight. And, I'm looking at some of these receivers and I'm saying, some tough decisions to be made. Hell, even Trap on the first of all, it was pass interference. Initially, I was upset. Like, that's not pass interference. Trap did everything right on that pass defense, except he panicked when the ball got there. Fell down, and he's tackling the guy before the ball gets there. Like, everything right. His turn, his run, he was right there. He mirrored the receiver well. Everything was in phase. He was in phase. And then the ball got there, and he panicked. And he still almost knocked it away, but he panicked. I can see why they want to work with him. He was in zone coverage on that one hit that was physical. He could have taken the ball from the receiver right there. Like, that's the kind of stuff I would do if I were a defender. Like, so many times football players are so concerned with the big hit, the oohs and the ahs. You know what's even more impressive? And that's what the heady players do. That's what the Tyrann Matthews of the world do. And the Ed Reeds and guys like that. Charles Woodson, they ain't looking to stick you right there. They're looking to take you and rip you right there. Oh, you want to make a pirouette catch? You spinning around, you ain't got it clean? Well, let me get that off you. Snatch it right from you, and they going the other way. Troy Apke could have done that on that play, but he was so concerned with, I'm going to stick my foot, and I'm going to run through him. I'm going to put my face mask right in his chest, and I'm going to drive him down. Well, he still caught the ball. But I see why they like Troy Apke. I see why they like Trap at the cornerback position. He's got all the the physical gifts and tools that you're looking for. Just needs more schooling and more reps. Anyway, Patterson got return looks, but they were on kickoff returns. I got to see him on punts, or else I still think that DeAndre Carter has an outside shot. If we want to do away with DeAndre Carter altogether, because to me, he didn't add any value at receiver. You can get that from somebody else. I've already made the case for AGG last week and what he brings to the table. And there aren't many guys on the roster other than Cam Sims that can do what he can do, because there aren't any other guys on the roster that have any size. So I think AGG is a necessary evil. Carter is a replaceable guy if you can find somebody else to return punts. Right now, he has a roster spot because we haven't found another guy that's going to also be on the roster that can do what DeAndre Carter currently does, which is return punts. My default and de facto fallback has always been, hey, Danny Johnson can do it. Danny ass may not even be on the damn roster. And that's why I'm finding it hard to get rid of DeAndre Carter altogether, because I'm like, damn, the one dude that I always had as my fallback plan. Shit, Danny can do it. Put Danny back there. It was Danny Johnson. Now I'm looking at Danny. I'm like, bro, I don't know if you're making the roster because this Torrey McTyer dude won't go away. So I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat, Jason Fios. Brandon Hayes, double up. Thank you for doubling up, Brandon Hayes. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Brandon Hayes writes, O-line seems like a finesse type of line, not power. I've been telling you guys this for 3-4 years now. Every year, you guys want something different, and you want something that this team isn't. And I keep trying to tell you the same thing. That's not what we are. That's not the philosophy that we teach. That's not the kind of players that we draft. We don't draft maulers, okay? We don't draft 340-pound offensive linemen. We draft the guys that are physically gifted, that can move, that are lean. Their body types are lean. They're not driving guys. You know, the big sloppy physical dudes that we see get drafted high every year, the mean guys, Brandon Sheriff can be that at times. Those guys, we haven't. When's the last time we spent a first-round pick on an offensive lineman? Brandon Sheriff. Like, we don't draft those guys, generally speaking. And not every offensive lineman that's a put your dick in the dirt type of guy has to be drafted in the first round. That's not what I'm saying. But, when you look at a lot of these offensive lines that have those kinds of players, a lot of those guys went relatively high in the draft, and that's what they were known for when they were drafted. That's not who we are, and that's fine. I've already told you guys that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being a finesse offensive line as long as y'all do what we expect of you. Okay, you're not going to maul people in a run game, but as long as you are walling off defenders and you're doing your job, I don't have a problem with it. That's why you have to have a Peyton Barber, because they're not blowing anybody off the ball on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. You need a guy that's going to say, hey, don't worry about it. Y'all just hold them at the line of scrimmage. I'll do the rest. I'll get the yard. Don't worry about it. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon Hayes. Gearcell 1. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Gearcell 1 writes, I'm back. Uh-oh, here we go. What do we got? Just came from a flannel shirt and hot pants convention with Josh Norman as the keynote speaker. Go Washington football team. Not hot pants. Oh, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Gearcell 1. Oh, man. You never disappoint, man. That is for sure. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, your boy Sims Jr. is already waived after that drop. He's not my boy. Okay. I defended him last year, and I'll continue to tell you, he's a talented guy. Steven Sims Jr. is an NFL caliber football player. He's just not an NFL caliber football player for this team. We've got better players than him. But you put him on a roster that's void of talent, that doesn't have a true slot or a team that could use one more receiver, he can make another team in this league. It's not like past years where we got Trey Quinn, and I'm like, man, I'm not sure Trey Quinn's an NFL football player. Like, we trying to get excited about Trey Quinn, but really it's Trey Quinn, though. Like, we trying to get excited about Ryan Grant, but really it's Ryan Grant, though. Like, he's not one of those dudes where you go, man, give me 2 years and this brother ain't going to be in the league no more. He's not one of those dudes. He can actually play. He can help somebody. I just think his time is up here. But we served our purpose for him because he was undrafted out of Kansas and he didn't have a chance. We gave him a chance. He got an opportunity. He took advantage of it that first year, and now he's shown the league that he can play. It just won't be here. Time's up. But I think he can play in this league. So he wasn't going to make the team anyway, but I think tonight kind of solidified it. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Got another super chat from my guy, John Livingston. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth, who writes, what up, Lou? What up, JL? Says, just dropping in to show some love to my favorite NFL streamer and about to boast about my UB guy, JP. Crime, he wasn't drafted, but glad to see him doing his thing in DC. Great dude on and off the field. I think a lot of us are starting to realize that. And Jaret Patterson, I thought he was going to get drafted. I didn't think it was any way he was going to go undrafted. And the fact that he didn't get drafted was somewhat surprising, but I'm glad that he didn't because it gave Washington an opportunity to scoop him up. So he's going to make this football team. And I think he's going to play in this league for many years to come because he has a skill set that fits this league. He looks like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He looks like one of these smaller, diminutive backs, low center of gravity that is a battering ram that's hard to find in a forest full of trees. He runs, to the line of scrimmage and then you lose him. You don't know where the hell this guy is. And he emerges from the other side. He's got elite quickness. Carries it high and tight, so he's not going to put it on the ground a lot. He's shown the ability to have natural hands as a pass catcher. He checks off all the boxes, man. And as you mentioned, he's a good dude, not only on the field, but even better off of it. So he fits in the locker room, and he's a hard worker. And he already told us from day one when he got here, I've had a chip on my shoulder my entire life. I've always been told I can't. I'm not big enough. I'm not big enough. So this is no different. Not being drafted, I take it in stride because this is what it's always been for me. This was a guy that wasn't recruited at Buffalo, but rather his brother was recruited at Buffalo. He went and cried in the bathroom stall at one of the stops because the coach told him flat to his face, we don't want you, we want your brother. We want nothing to do with you. And the only reason they took him at Buffalo was because his brother said, we a package deal. You don't take my brother, I'm not coming. So they took him too. And he turned out to be the one that ultimately made it to the league. So he's been told no at every stop. So I'm so happy for this dude, man. And to see him doing what he's doing, all he's doing is continuing to do the things that he's done over his entire life to get him to this point. Take advantage of an opportunity when nobody thought you were getting that opportunity in the first place. So we're happy for him. We're happy to have him. And we'll take good care of your boy, man. Don't worry. We'll take good care of him. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth. Condoleezza Perry. Thank you for the super chat, Condo P. Greatly appreciate you, who writes, Patterson solidified his spot on this team, and someone who probably felt they were making the 53-man roster is Nat. Trap, Johnson, Sims Jr. Well, Sims Jr. was never making the roster in my estimation. I think Trap and Johnson are definitely on the bubble, but I just always harken back to Trap being the best special teams player we got. It's not close. Like every time they punted the ball, I kept saying, Trap the first one down there, Trap the first one down there, Trap the first, and it was like a broken record because he's always the first one down there. He's an extreme fiend when it comes to being a gunner. Nobody's better on the team, and it's not even close. So I just don't see them getting rid of Troy Apke. He adds too much value to this team. You remove him from special teams, and you're removing a huge chunk of special teams production. So I just don't think they're going to move on from him. So that's why I keep bringing up Danny Johnson. I keep looking at Danny Johnson, and I'm saying, bro, shit's getting tight because I like him as a corner as well. He had a pass breakup tonight that I thought he could have easily picked off had he decided to go after it with two hands. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is I'm looking at Danny Johnson and I'm thinking, you got some positional flex. I mean, you do some things that give you a great chance of making this team. You're a core special teamer. You can play the nickel. You can return punts. You can return kickoffs. You were the primary kickoff return man. Like, there's so many things you do that adds value to this football team. But I'm looking at Torrey McTyer and I'm saying they like him as an outside corner. He's probably a core special teamer. That's how he stuck around this long in the league, is because he hasn't been out there playing corner and getting a ton of reps. He's probably been a core special teamer, so he's probably good at that. And I'm saying they really like this dude. They had him starting the game. You don't throw a guy out there to start because they want to see what Torrey McTyer was all about. You don't throw a dude out there if you're not thinking about keeping him. That ain't what you do with dudes that you thinking about, cutting that are definitely getting cut. You do that with dudes that you thinking about keeping. Let me see how he does against the other team starters. Our guys aren't in. Let me see what this dude does. I said, damn, Danny, you won't get any run until damn near halftime. It's not a good look, man. So I'm not saying, I'm just saying I think Danny Johnson is the guy that I'm eyeballing. And I've already said I'm side-eyeing Danny like, man, it's getting tight, bro. It's getting tight. So, yeah, Patterson making a team makes it interesting. I think not for necessarily offensive players, because my offensive numbers are locked and they're set in stone. I think it has an impact on the defensive side of football. Linebacker, safety, and corner. I think they got to trim off one of those positions to make space for Jaret Patterson. So, thank you for that super chat, Condo P. Zachary Portnoy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Zach Portnoy writes, team like a few tiers away from the Legion of Boom. You want to say that we have the pieces. We don't have an Earl Thomas on this team, though. We don't have one of those rangy red line safeties on this football team. I know you guys want Bobby McCain to be that. I don't think that's what he is. But what I can tell you, Landon Collins looked really good out there. That tackle he had, he's flying around. Jamar Chase made a business decision because Landon Collins was going to touch him up, and he didn't want the smoke. And that tight end out in the flats, canceled him quick. And really, if Landon wanted to force a fumble on that one, all he had to do was go after the football. That tight end was exposed. Ball was out there for the taking, but Landon just wanted to cut him down, and he did. Cut him down quick. Dudes are flying around out there, man. So the defense is coming along. They still got some kinks to work out. You would love it if all the guys are out there so they could get some reps with one another so they could know what the guy is doing. It's going to take a couple of weeks into the season, I think, to get the communication down packed to where guys are comfortable knowing what the guy next to him is going to do. William Jackson knowing what that safety is going to do and how to play it because he knows I got inside help. I can play, with outside leverage because I know I got help to the inside, and knowing what everybody's going to do. I think it's going to take a couple of weeks. And so there may be some mishaps there, here or there. There may be some plays made that, by the offense against our defense that, 6 weeks into the season won't be because the guys will, tighten up some of those loose ends and close up some of those holes and communication will be better. But Legion of Boom, that's lofty. We're not there yet. We're not there yet, obviously. And you got to get the corners playing at a very high level. So we'll see. Dejan Bell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Dejan Bell writes, Leaner and meaner Landon. JP35, let's go. Leaner and meaner Landon. Landon is arguably in the best shape he's been in, and he's already said this. As a Washington football team member, this is the best shape he's been in. And you can see it. Like, he looks spry. He is moving around the field with ease. This is the guy we signed up for. And I think because we have so many playmakers now, he doesn't have to feel like I got to make all of these plays. And I thought he was pressing before he got injured. I thought he was trying to do too much. I think we're going to get the Landon Collins that we signed up for this year, and he's going to have a big time year. I really do feel that way. Thank you for the super chat, Dejon Brown. Or excuse me, Dejon Bell. Sorry about that. Dejon Bell. Jake Hutton, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jake Hutton, writes, that Landon Collins hit on Thad Moss was beautiful. Was a beauty. He said, made me jump out of my seat. People forget he's an all-pro and 3-time Pro Bowler. Guy's gonna have a year. I feel the same way. I just kind of said that before I got to your super chat. So we're on the same page. I think all of us really liked that hit. He literally cut him down. And he came out of nowhere. He was so fast on that play. And he just looks like he's dialed in. And I think he's going to have a big season too, man. I do think a lot of people, you know how it is with a lot of these fans, man. It's recency biased, okay? Whatever is the latest is the greatest. They saw Cam Curl last, so F Landon Collins. We got a new shiny toy to play with. His name is Cam Curl. And I'm like, that's not how this works, guys. Like, you trying to run this man out of town, and y'all acting like for certain Cam Curl is legit. Like, we've seen players come in year one, have a great, first season, and then flutter and really not live up to the bar set for them after a outstanding first year in the league. Like, that's happened before. Plenty of times, So I'm like, you guys are ready to run Landon Collins out of here like the man can't play. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm shocked that he's in such great shape and he's moving around better than he was before coming off an Achilles. Normally that takes time, man. And he's really, really moving around like the Landon Collins in New York with the Giants. So I'm with you, man. That was a great hit. I'm feeling good about him. I think he's poised for a really big season. Thank you for that super chat, Jake Hutton. Got a super chat here from Martin Matthews. My guy, Double M, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Double M, writes, hey, Louie, we have a lot of O-linemen that are good. I think the trimming will come from them if we want 4 backs, 7 receivers, or 4 tight ends. I don't think they're keeping 4 tight ends. We are keeping 4 backs. 7 receivers, I think, is aggressive. We've talked about 7 receivers before. That's still not out of the realm of possibility. In my mind, though, it's 6. I told you my numbers on the offensive side are set in stone. I've already given you those numbers. It's 10 O-linemen. It's 6 wide receivers. It's 4 running backs. It's 3 quarterbacks. It's 3 tight ends, or a grand total of 26. That's my number. 26, 24, 3. However, as you just brought up, it could be 7 receivers. If you do that, again, you're going to have to trim off fat somewhere else. Maybe it comes at the expense of offensive line. You could be right, because I actually did sit down and try to come up with 10 guys, and I keep getting stuck at 9. But I think they're going to find a way to make it 10, because you saw Sadiq at tackle tonight. He got beat on one play, forced. I want to say it was Taylor Heineke to flush the pocket, but his versatility to play 4 out of the 5 offensive line positions. Obviously, you got Cornelius Lucas and Wes Schweitzer. I don't know if they're leaning towards starting Eric Flowers now. I got to go back and see how he did. But obviously, Schweitzer was running with the 2s today, and Flowers got the nod, and he was getting it all week, so we knew he was going to start. And he did. So you look at the offensive line. Let's just assume Flowers is starting, right? So that's your 5 right there of Charles Leno Jr., Eric Flowers, Chase Roullier, Brandon Sheriff, and Sam Cosmi. So that's 5. Cornelius Lucas, that's 6. Sadiq Charles, that's 7. Wes Schweitzer, that's 8. What's my man's name? David Sharp, that's 9. And that's when I get stuck. Is there another guy on the roster? And I'm thinking they're going to keep another center. And that's where I always get 10. Is I think they're going to keep the backup center. I can't remember his name for the life of me right now, but it's going to kill me if I can't. So I'm going to go and pull up the roster and tell you what his name is real quick. Tyler Lawson. I think they're going to keep Tyler Lawson as the 10th offensive lineman, and that gives you the 10. Now, they could trim off fat there and keep it at 9. Wes Schweitzer can play center. He's done it before in his career. So if they really wanted to trim off a piece of fat at offensive line, they could do that, definitely. And that would give them another roster spot to keep a 6th corner or a 7th wide receiver. You know, it would allow them some flexibility, or another defensive lineman, whatever they decided they wanted to do with that extra spot. I just know last year they kept 10, and it was the right decision because we ultimately needed every single one of those offensive linemen because we had a rash of injuries on the offensive line. You can never have enough offensive linemen. So I think they're going to keep 10, but we will see. That's a really good point you bring up, Martin Matthews. We have a lot of offensive linemen that gives us good depth and have positional flex, so they may not feel compelled to keep as many this year because of how many guys can do multiple things. I think that is a really good point. Double M, thank you for the super chat, Martin Matthews. Got another one here from Red Wings 01. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Red Wings 01, who writes, tight ends were pretty quiet today. Aside from Ricky's one nice catch, I don't see much changing from Sammy's prospects at making the roster. They were very quiet. I don't even think John Bates even got targeted tonight, which was really disappointing. But I didn't see much from the tight ends. I agree. So, but remember, Ricky didn't have a choice. They signed they just signed your boy from UCLA that was on the roster last year, well, on the practice squad last year, because we didn't have anybody. Tamarick Hemingway and Sam East were both out. So I think Sam East is still good. And honestly, I didn't think that anything that happened tonight was going to change that. It's not really about somebody else playing well enough to keep Sam East off the roster. It's more so because we know what these guys are at this point. I think Hemingway is the only one that, and he's not healthy, so he's not showing what he can do either. He would be the only one that I would look at and say he's comfortable in the system. They know him. He's been with Ron and company for multiple years. He's the one guy that they would not keep Sam East for. But with him being out too, I think Sam East is definitely a guy that has a chance to be on this roster. So for me, nothing has changed. He's just got to get healthy. It's never been, with the guys that we have on the roster and what we've seen from them, I don't think it's really a question of can somebody outperform Sam East. I just think it's can Sam East be healthy. This is the second time he's gotten hurt in camp. Remember, he hasn't dealt with this kind of physicality before. He's a basketball player. He's never played football ever in his life. So it's a different animal when you've never done it. Your body is not used to this kind of punishment. So can he stay healthy? Yeah, he's a big dude and he looks the part. But your body's like, yo, what the hell is this? We've never done this before. We did a little banging down in the post, but we ain't used to crashing into other dudes' bodies at a high rate of speed like this. This is different. So can he stay healthy? That's the real question. So I'm with you, though. None of these guys did anything, and I didn't expect them to make us feel like, Sam East is in trouble. He's just got to be healthy. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 401. Brendan McCloskey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Brendan McCloskey, writes, hey, Lou, what up, Brendan? Did you see Chase talking smack to the Bengals player on the sideline? He's locked in, man. He's doing that all the time. That never changes. Last year, he almost ran on the field to get after a dude. Like, that's Chase. That's always going to be Chase. That's who he is. High energy all the time. Did you see the first play of the game? They throw the screen. I think it was a screen. And he's coming from the other side of the field. He stops, plants, turns, and then runs. And he's hauling ass, and then that guy gets pushed out of bounds, and he doesn't slow up until that guy's going out of bounds. Like, this is Chase, 110 miles an hour at all times, even when he's not in the game and he's on the sidelines as a cheerleader. It's 110. Taylor Heineke scored a touchdown in a playoff game last year, and Chase Young is running down the sidelines to mob him and point at the back of his jersey at his nameplate. Like, this is just who he is. So nothing surprises me with him. Nothing. Thank you for the super chat, Brendan McCloskey. Alec Meehan, thank you for the super chat. Alec Meehan, who writes, what up, Lou? Been a while. It has. Since I hit you with a super chat, that's on me. It's all good, bro. It's all good. As long as you continue in the support, that's all I care about. And you're good. Good to hear from you. But the homie Patterson is making the football team. Hashtag MOBB. For sure. Nobody's disputing that at this point. I think that was a conversation for last week. I think that thing's sewn up like a teller. Relatively easy, like Jerry Heller. Drop his cherry vanilla. That's over with. That's done. Okay? I don't think we have to debate on that. It's a matter of, all right, whose spot is he taking now? Like, who's coming off the roster because we're keeping a fourth back? I told you I had him on the roster last week. So I had already built him into the roster last week. But for some of you who were still on the fence and now you're coming around, now you may have to make some alterations to your 53. I had already built him in to the 53-man roster last week when I told you there were going to be 4 running backs on the roster with my 26 on offense. So I think you are kind of in line and lockstep with everybody else, Alec, that he's making his football team. Thank you for that super chat. Got another one here from Metaphor. Thank you for tripling up, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Wise man told Payne how to fall on a fumble. I see what you did there. Wise, who fell on a fumble tonight, man told Payne how to fall on a fumble. We also had another player fall on a fumble aggressively and did a hell of a job to recover it, even though it did not count, in David Mayo. I didn't like that call, by the way. Derek Forrest picking up the personal foul down by the goal line. Come on, that's football. That's a clean shot. I didn't think it was. Did he leave with his helmet? Maybe, but like, what do you want the guy to do there, man? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think that this is something we got to belabor with Payne. I don't blame him. Ron talks about city and country. If you're in the city, you pick it up and try to run with it. If you're in the country, you fall on it. He was in the city initially. He didn't pick it up cleanly. That second time he needed to fall on it. But I see what you were doing there. That's a good one. Thank you for the super chat. Metaphor. Will Diggs. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Will Diggs, writes, JP has the potential to start over AG. Great vision. I can't co-sign on that one, Will. I know you like him. I know you're feeling Jaret Patterson right now. Let's not go overboard. All right. Let's keep the excitement to a minimum. Okay. Let's keep it realistic. Like my guy CPJ last week, or might have been Thursday night or Wednesday, excuse me, brought up, well, what if he outperforms AG, Antonio Gibson, what happens then? I'm like, that's not what they're looking at him for. He's a great story. He's playing well. He's a more natural runner right now because that's the only position he's played in his life is running back. So his vision, all of those things, his feel, you expect that to be greater than a guy that is playing running back for just the second year of his NFL career and really for his life. This guy's been at various positions, but not running back. That said, Antonio Gibson showed you tonight and reminded you, if you forgot, because some of you, you have selective memory. The last thing you saw is the only thing you remember. So he reminded you tonight of why they're so high on him. Like, they're talking about him potentially having a Christian McCaffrey role on this team. You really think they're going to sit him down for anybody else? J.D. McKissic can't even get on the field this preseason. And I don't know if that's out of you know what I'm starting to think, honestly? And this is crazy talk. I don't even know why I bring stuff like this up, because some of you are going to allow your minds to wander when I bring up stuff like this. I shouldn't even say this. But somebody said this a long time ago, and I dismissed them, and it might have been metaphor. Somebody said that Jaret Patterson is going to take J.D. McKissic's spot on the team. I'm like, yeah, next year, not this year. Are you crazy? J.D. McKissic led the team in receptions last year. You got to be out of your mind. I am starting to wonder about the lack of opportunities for J.D. McKissic. Like, this dude is barely on the field in the preseason now. I don't want to read too much into it, because they know what J.D. McKissic is, and that might be why they're not playing him a whole hell of a lot. But if they're keeping 3, could J.D. McKissic be the guy that's an odd man out? Nah, I'm not going to allow myself to think like that, because I know they value J.D. McKissic. I know they value him. I know Scott Turner absolutely loves him. He's the reason that J.D. McKissic is here. Like, there's no way. So I'm not going to talk crazy or reckless, but Jaret Patterson isn't starting over anybody. If he makes this team, he's making this team because of the potential of him helping his team in the future. And if something should happen, if opportunities should arise where you can have a couple of things happen that are unfortunate, then he could step in and potentially take advantage of an opportunity. But if all things are equal and everybody's healthy, that's not a conversation even worth having. Thank you for the super chat, Will Diggs. Okay, that might be it right there. Motorhome Nomad. 27 is Kenny Houston. If that's the case, then he was 27. If that's the case, Fred Smoot wouldn't have been allowed to wear it. Walt Harris wouldn't have been allowed to wear it. These are guys that wore 27 here. Like, it's not retired. So, because Washington, remember, we got into this discussion already. They don't have retired numbers in Washington. They have protected numbers, but they don't have retired numbers that no one can wear. Like, Bobby Mitchell's 42 was given to Stevens. What was it? Leonard Stevens, I think it was. Like, I don't think it's protected. I just think nobody picks 27 for whatever reason. I don't know. You might be right. Maybe after a certain amount of time, because am I tripping? Didn't Fred Smoot wear 27? Am I tripping? Did Fred Smoot wear something else? I could have sworn Smoot was 27. I could be wrong. Smoot could have been 21 for all I know. I could have sworn Fred Smoot was 27, and I know for a fact Walt Harris was 27. I'm not tripping. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. John Livingston, greatly appreciate you. My guy JL Smooth writes, hey, what about 34? Pretty good number. Thurman Thomas already compared himself to him. Damn good company. 34 is just as equally as nasty as 35. The only thing that 34 brings is that it's an even number. That's it. 35 is an odd number. That's the only difference. They're both equally hideous. I can say Thermal made 34 look decent. I still think 34 is nasty. If for a running back, it's hard to get behind 30 numbers. I thought O.J. Simpson made 32 look acceptable. Tony Dorsett made 33 look solid, but it's rare that you're going to take a 30-something and make it look cool. Somebody wrote in the comment section, Rock Cartwright was 35. Rock Cartwright was 31. Okay. So 35 that's not a cool number. 34 isn't cool. For 30, nothing for a running back. Like, I don't want to see my running back in 30 anything. 20s, please. So I'm trying to think of a dope running back in the league that wears 30s. Aaron Jones is 33, right? I think he's 33 in Green Bay. I think he's 33. You can get away with double, with double tray. You can get away with 33. Jones Drew was 32. I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And he said why he did it, because 32 teams passed on him. That's how he got to the second round. But I wasn't a big fan of 32, but it didn't look bad on him. It can the number can grow on you. You see it for long enough, but 35 is hard for that to grow on you. That's all I'm saying. So if you're going to do a 30-something, it needs to be the low 30s. 31, 32, 33. I think once you get past 33, I'm like, that's rough. That's rough. So anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat, John Livingston. Thank you for the super chat, Thomas Carter. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity, Thomas. Greatly appreciate Thomas Carter. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor, writes, JP wearing mask in postgame. Unvaxxed? Not saying, but he may be final reason for Ron to keep him off of 53. Won't say, but can be a factor. Just saying. Nah, they're not cutting good football players because they're not vaccinated. Chase Young isn't vaccinated. Brandon Sheriff isn't vaccinated. We know Montez Sweat isn't vaccinated. And I get it. Those guys are, first-round picks. They're definitely not getting cut. But there are other guys on the team, too, that aren't vaccinated. If you're a good football player, you're not getting cut because you're unvaccinated. Trust me. Now, Ron has already said, if all things are considered and they're all equal, and there's a vaccinated and an unvaccinated player, and you go with the vaccinated player. But Jaret Patterson isn't equal to anybody that's competing with him for a roster spot. He's already carved out a specific niche for himself on this roster as a do-it-all type of running back. They're not cutting him because he's unvaccinated. You don't have to worry about that. That would come into play if it were two guys like, let's say, what's the name of the corner? Oh, man, that we got from the Detroit Lions. I can't think of his name. He's not making the team. He's getting a lot of mop-up duty late in the game. Darryl Roberts. Let's say Darryl Roberts is unvaccinated, or he's vaccinated, and Danny Johnson isn't vaccinated. And those two were equal. And forget about Danny as a kickoff and a punt returner. Just think of Danny as a corner. And those two were equal. They both played nickel, can play a little bit outside. We've seen a lot of Darryl Roberts on the outside too. But let's just assume they were both equal. Then you would keep Darryl Roberts because he's vaccinated and Danny Johnson isn't. But that's not the case, I don't think you have to worry about Jaret Patterson getting cut because he's unvaccinated. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Metaphor. Let's see. Timothy Palmer. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Timothy Palmer, writes, second week, Fitzpatrick haven't scored. Red flag, or should we be patient? Well, you got to be patient. It's the preseason, Curtis Samuel isn't out there. They're keeping it pretty vanilla offensively. They're not showcasing a lot of the things that they're going to unveil week one against the Chargers. They're going to look like a totally different offense when they get out there. But you would like to see the offense put the ball in the end zone. Yeah, that'd be great, but it's the preseason. These things happen. You don't play long enough to get into a rhythm. So if you don't hit it from the word go, right when you feel like, hey, we starting to get into a rhythm, now they take you out of the game. You're done. So, I mean, think about it like this. In an NFL game, there are games where you don't score a touchdown until the third quarter. You might have kicked a field goal, in the second quarter. You were getting shut out of the game, and then you had a 2-minute drive that led to a field goal right before the half, and you don't score your first touchdown until the third quarter of the game. It happens all the time. So, you shouldn't be worried because we haven't scored. The first team offense has literally had 1 quarter and a half of work. It's not uncommon to go a quarter and a half in an NFL game without scoring a touchdown. That happens all the time. So, no, you shouldn't be alarmed. Would you like them to execute better? Would you like guys to not fall down? Would you like Fitz to hit that throw to Logan Thomas on the third down that he's open and probably going to get the first down if he puts that on the money? Sure. Would you like De'Ami Brown to catch that sliding grab so that you don't have to punt with the failed conversion on the next down, third down? Sure. All of these things, you would like to see them do better, but they didn't. They happened. No need to panic. No need to press the button yet. It's preseason, man. Like, take everything with a grain of salt. Thank you for the super chat, Timothy Palmer. Let's see if we got any more super chats, and we do. Take that. Right. Thank you for the super chat, first and foremost. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Humphreys looks like a jag out there. Sheesh. I can understand why you feel that way. He's not, though. He's going to be a slot winner for us. Trust me. He's going to be a good football player for us. When we get everybody out there and we start doing creative things and moving guys around, Humphreys, he's going to have some chances to make some plays. And we saw that in week 1 against the Patriots. He got open on the first third down of the game when he got the first down, and then he was open again on another third down on the second drive, and he fell. So he's going to win. I'm not worried about Humphreys, and neither should you. But today wasn't a good day. Him and Fitzpatrick weren't on the same page. It wasn't pretty, but trust me, he's going to be fine. God, trust the process on this one. Thank you for the super chat. Take that. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, F Legion of Boom. We're going to be the Legion of woo, woo, woo. I don't even know what the hell that is supposed to be. I don't know. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. I got you. All right. I was being slow. I was being literal is what I was doing. I see what you were doing there. Okay. I got it. Thank you for the super chat. Metaphor. Got one from Kalen Meekins. Thank you for the super chat, Kalen Meekins. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, they were balling. Plays were made on every level. They being the defense? I'm assuming you're talking about the defense. Because the offense wasn't clicking today, and we don't consider the offense to have levels. So yeah, I would make the assumption that you're talking about the defense. I thought they played well. I didn't think they were world beaters because I thought the Bengals had opportunities and they didn't take advantage. Jamar Chase had a couple of drops. So some of that was good defense too. Like Juice, I don't think that was a drop. I think that was a pass breakup. But there was a pass on the third down where the receiver was wide open, and it was just a bad throw. It was a bad pass by Brandon Allen. It was an errant throw, similar to Fitz to Logan Thomas. So, yeah, I don't think Cincinnati helped their cause at all, but some of that was us. So, gotta give us credit. But I'm not willing to go overboard either. Thank you for the super chat, Kalen Meekins. Let's see if we got another super chat. And we do. YouTube user Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. YouTube user writes, JP has shown the potential to convert on short yardage, and Barber has not looked good on third and short so far this season. JP in and Barber out? Nah. And it's funny that you say Barber hasn't looked good on third downs. To my recollection, he's only not converted on one third down, and that was the one where they let Matthew Judon screaming off the edge, untouched, into the backfield before Barber could even get going. Last week, they put him in specifically down by the goal line on the 1 yard line, and he got in. And it took a second and a third effort for him to get in. But that's Peyton Barber. That's what he does. He wasn't in this week in short yardage situations, at least not to my knowledge. I could have missed one early in the game, but I know on a fourth down, they had Gibby in there, and Gibby didn't get it. I know they gave Patterson a couple of looks in some situations, and I think he got a couple of them, but he didn't get one of them. And I don't think Barber really got a whole bunch of opportunities. So I don't know where the Barber hasn't looked good in short yardage and Patterson comes from, because I'll still take Peyton Barber any day over Jaret Patterson in a short yardage situation. For as much as I like Patterson, he still is a small guy, and guys do engulf him. I'll still take Peyton Barber. Thank you very much. But I know it's a love affair with Jaret Patterson right now, and you guys all want him on the roster. You don't have to remove Peyton Barber to have Jaret Patterson on this roster. Trust me. It's enough space for all four of those guys. You don't have to remove one to have the other. This isn't an or situation. It's an and situation. So you don't have to pit them against each other. It's okay to carve out a niche for yourself. This is what you guys have to understand. It's okay. Say it with me. It's okay to carve out a niche for yourself in this league. Like, you guys keep trying to, Peyton Barber doesn't do this and he doesn't do that. And Peyton Barber can catch the football. Peyton Barber can pass protect. There's a lot of things Peyton Barber can do. Oh, by the way, Peyton Barber is a core special teamer as well. There's a lot of things that Peyton Barber does that you guys don't want to give him credit for, because you don't want to like Peyton Barber because you want to like Jaret Patterson. You can like Peyton Barber too in what he does. He picks up short yardage situations. You're going to encounter 5 or 6 of them per game. You need a guy that you can trust in those situations. Why is that hard to understand, and why is that hard to accept? I don't understand that. I don't understand why you don't want a guy that completes that at a high clip, because it's a play in football that is going to happen 4 or 5, if not more times throughout the course of a game. I don't understand why you guys want to do that. And then when Barber's gone and Jaret Patterson gets stuffed on 3rd and 1, then you're going to be crying, man, wish we still had Peyton Barber. No, hold on to Barber. There's enough space on the roster for both of those guys. And I keep saying this, and I don't know this to be a fact. I don't know if Jaret Patterson is a core special teamer. I don't know if he plays special teams. I know for a fact Peyton Barber plays special teams. That's how he made it in this league. So I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Thank you for the super chat, YouTube user. Let's see. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for tripling up. My guy Red Wings 01 writes, I wonder if Barber did himself a disservice by dropping the 10 pounds. He looks more like a scat back and less like the wrecking ball he was last year. You can lose 10 pounds and still be a physical force, because a lot of times, I've talked about this already, but I equate short yardage situations and plays like that, blocking in the run game, whether you're a receiver or a tight end, all that good jazz. I equate that to rebounding in the NBA. It's all about want to. Do you really want that 1 yard? Some guys want it more than others. Some guys are willing to concede the fact that, hey, you got me. I'll get it next time. And there's nothing I can do. There are 2 guys on me. Peyton Barber doesn't care about that. He's going to keep fighting, and that's just a mentality that he has. Whether he's 225 pounds like he was last year, or he's 215 like he is this year, he's going to keep fighting for those yards. He showed us that last week in the Patriots game on the goal line when he was stopped initially and kept fighting, kept churning the legs, kept pushing, and willed his way into the end zone. There wasn't an offensive lineman that came and pushed him from behind. The quarterback didn't give him a bump. He did that on his own last week. It's still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. He just lost weight because he sees that they're going to give him opportunities to catch the football out of the backfield. And last year, he got reps at running back, and they gave him opportunities to tote the rock. He wants to be a little bit more spry in those situations. So he dropped the weight, and he does look a little bit more spry to me. But I don't think that has come at the expense of his power nor his determination. And Ron said earlier in camp, because that same question was posed to Ron. Hey, you know, did Peyton Barber lose some of his physicality by dropping the weight? And Ron emphatically said, no, he's still that same guy. And I believe him because I've seen it. I was worried when I heard he dropped 10 pounds. I was like, wait a minute. You didn't tell me you were getting a cut, Barber. You didn't tell me you were trimming off some of the fat. What's going on here, man? Hey, Barber, we got to talk about any cuts before you start anything off. He's like, nah, I'm good. We good. I said, you sure? He's like, no, we good. Okay, I believe him. He's shown me. We're good. Thank you for the super chat. Red Wings 01. Got one here from Joe Rockhead J. Thank you for the super chat, Joe Rockhead J. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what's up, Lou? What up, Joe Rockhead? Says Larson over Keith Ishmael for the 10th lineman. What do I know? I'm always at work during the games. Keith Ishmael is barely getting in with the 3rd string. Yeah, Keith Ishmael isn't even close. When they released the first depth chart, Tyler Lawson was 2nd on the depth chart behind Chase Rouillet. So, yeah, and when they go to their 2nd team, it's Larson that's in. So, yeah, it's Keith Ishmael isn't making the football team. Not making the football team. So, yeah, that's definitely going down. Terry Maples, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Terry Maples writes, Sean Alexander, 37, Ricky Williams, 34, 35, just ugly, though. Sean Alexander's 37 was hideous. That's why he always looked slow to me. Sean Alexander always looked like a big glob of doo-doo to me. But I know he was good. I think he was even league MVP one year. I'm not foolish. I know he was good. He just didn't. I never liked Sean Alexander. And when LeVar heard him, I was like, oh, he's soft. When he heard him in that playoff game, like, he's soft. So 37 always seemed to bog him down for me. I never thought Sean Alexander was fast. And on Madden, he was ass. Those were my prime Madden playing days, and he was ass. You couldn't do shit with Sean Alexander on Madden. So Ricky Williams was a beast, but he was 34. And like I said, the higher up you get, I'm not a 34 guy. I didn't love it on Ricky, but Ricky, he made it work. And there have been 34 throughout history. You know, we've talked about Thurman Thomas. Walter Payton was 34. Like, there've been 34s out there. You ain't gonna find too many beast 35s though, man. Like, again, the higher up in number, the lower the percentage is that you're gonna find a beast in that number. You know, I think the cutoff is 34. I don't really love 34. You gotta be it takes a special player to wear 34. The cutoff is 34 though. Like, 33 is really where I want to stay. 33 and lower, like, all right, I can deal with that. And I don't love 31 either. So it's really 32 and 33. because I don't love 31. That 31 reminds me of Matt Jones. Who? Matt Jones. And I don't want to ever think about Matt Jones. So it ain't too many 31s out there that's eating. What number is David Johnson? Is David Johnson 31? He's 31, right? Like 31, that's a hard one to pull off too. There ain't a lot of those out there either. I think David Johnson was 31. He might still be 31. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Terry Maples, for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zulu Tribe 36. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Zulu Tribe 36 writes, sorry, I'm late. JP on the 53? Yep. He is. No doubt about it. That's a train that's going towards the 53-man roster, and it ain't stopping. It ain't stopping. So, yeah, he is definitely on the roster. Zulu Tribe 36. OKG 2000. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. OKG 2000 who writes, Turner trash. It's what have you done lately, league? It's preseason, man. Like, this is what you get in the preseason. Nobody, the only team that's showing anything is the Arizona Cardinals. And that's because their head coach doesn't have any self-restraint. He's got shiny new toys, and he can't help himself. He's got to show them off. And he's showing people kind of how they're going to use some of their weapons. Everybody else is putting vanilla stuff out there, man. We're going to run this basic stuff. We're going to run the hell out of it, and we're going to try to out-execute you running this basic stuff. That's all it is, And that's what it's going to be till the season starts. I like Scott Turner. I thought he did a phenomenal job. I told you there were only a couple of games last year and a couple of instances where I was like, hey, Scott, what are you doing? But I like Scott Turner a lot. You guys know that. So I don't agree with that one. OKG 2000. Thank you for the super chat. OKG 2000. Carlton Pagano Jackson. Thank you for the super chat. My guy CPJ who writes, people want their version of a narrative for the players they want and not want. LOL. Don't harp on it, Lou. LOL. I know that. But I still have to talk about the comment, and there are people out there that may feel that way or may be on the fence. So it's my job to advocate for if I think it's a false narrative or it's a foolish statement, it's my job to advocate on the other side, to play devil's advocate towards that narrative or that comment. But look, that's human nature. If I don't like a guy, I'm going to find every reason why I don't think that guy's any good. So if you like, you want to see DeAndre Carter on the roster, then you're going to have a million reasons why AGG stinks and he shouldn't be on the football team. If you really like Jaret Patterson and you think they're only keeping 3 backs, then you're going to find every reason why, JD McKissick stinks or Peyton Barber. More likely than not, Peyton Barber stinks and he can't be on the football team. These are the things people do. That's human nature. But what I try to promote is thinking outside of that realm. Okay, so you don't like this guy. Doesn't mean that you can't support him. This is the thing I will never understand that fans do. It'd be one thing if this guy that they're holding on to is so bad, it's affecting the team, and there's another guy there that is so good, and you're like, he just needs an opportunity, and this guy's in the way. We got to get rid of this guy. Then I get it to an extent. But even then, if the guy's on the team, I'm going to support him. There are guys that are on the team that really haven't had a chance to show whether they can or can't do it. And fans already don't like them, and they want to be right so bad that they would rather root against a guy that is on their favorite team so that they can say, I was right, that guy stinks. And I told you that he stunk. Instead of saying, look, he's here. I don't think he's all that good, but he's on our team, so I'm going to root for him. But if he turns out to be garbage, you best bet I'm going to tell you, I told you from the jump this guy stinks. But while he's here and he's wearing a jersey and he gets a number, I'm going to root for him because he's going to help my team win. You would think that would be the position a lot of fans would take, but it's quite the opposite. They'd rather be right than their favorite team benefit from a player that they don't like playing well. They'd rather that guy stink and have him hurt the team so that they can say, I told you that guy stinks, instead of rooting for the player to be successful, being wrong and saying, you know what, I was wrong. This guy's really helping us. People are really funny that way. I can never understand that because I'm not wired that way. I could think a guy stinks. Like I told you, Monte Nicholson is soft. He was quite the opposite. Au contraire, my friend. He was too damn physical. I've been wrong about a lot of guys thinking that they weren't this, or I go back and watch my breakdown of the draft last year. I crucified them for taking Cam Curl. I crucified them. I gave out 2 or 3 other guys that I would have rather them take at that spot, at the safety position. Boy, was I wrong. If I was really selfish, I could have been like, finding ways for Cam Curl to not be good. Oh, he's not great in coverage. Oh, did you see that Rams wide receiver break him off and hit him for a 50-yard gain? He stinks. I could do that all day long with the best of them. But why? 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 Who does that help in the long run? How does that benefit us? You're right, but we suck. Great. If that makes you feel any better, knock yourself out. I don't, that stuff never resonates with me. I want Cam Curl to be good. I want to be wrong. Because if he's good, that helps the team. But there are a lot of people out there, they're selfish. They'd rather be right than the team be good and that player be good. Anyway, I'll always be on the side of justice. Okay. So I'm gonna put the white cape on, and I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna try to save the day, save the narrative. Okay. If it's a false narrative, I'm gonna try to write it. I don't know what else to do. Thank you for the super chat, CPJ. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Condo P. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Condo P. Greatly appreciate you. My girl Condo P writes, are you concerned about Leno's play so far? I'm not concerned, but I have not been overly impressed. But Bears fans have told me, and I take this with a grain of salt, because when fans don't necessarily love a player, they're gonna give you the worst of that player. But Charles Leno obviously was doing something right in Chicago, because not only was he a 7th round pick, but they gave him a second contract there. So he was obviously doing something right for a while there. Maybe things turned sour towards the end, but it was a surprise cut. It's not like a lot of people, and boy, I bet you they would kill to have him, because the guy they just drafted, Tevin Jenkins, I think he's got back issues right now, and he's slated to miss the beginning of the season. So I'm pretty sure they wish they still had Charles Leno Jr., and that's why you don't just do things like that. But unless you got the depth, and we'll see. Maybe their depth is fine and they don't need him. But I haven't been blown away by his play. No, I haven't. But you can do worse. I'm tired of saying that on the offensive line, though, specifically at tackle. I'm tired of saying, well, he's not bad. You could do worse. Like I said that all year about Cornelius Lucas. I said that all year last year about Jaron Christian. He's not bad. You could do worse. I've been saying that about Morgan Moses for the last, 5 years. He's not terrible. He's reliable. You could do worse. You're not going to have 5 Trent Williamses across your offensive line. I'm aware of that. Chase Rouillet isn't dominant, but he's consistent. He's reliable, and I know what I'm getting. I'll take that. I don't really know what I'm getting from snap to snap with Charles Leno Jr. right now. I got to watch more, but I haven't been blown away by him. Not in the run game. I think there are certain times. I think he does an admirable job in the pass game. I think he does a good enough job of rebounding even when he gets beat to give the quarterback somewhere to step up. But no, I'm not concerned. To answer your question, no, I'm not concerned. But I got my eye on him, though, because I haven't been blown away by what I've seen. He's athletic. I'll give him that. He's got some movement skills. So even when he does get beat, he gets just enough of that guy to push him up the field, allow the quarterback to step up in the pocket and deliver the football. So I think what's ultimately going to happen is I'm going to love him a lot more in the pass game than I am the run game. And you know what? I'm okay with that because I felt the same way about Cornelius Lucas last year. So thank you for the super chat, Condo P. Got another super chat. This one is from CPJ. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Colton Pagano Jackson, my guy CPJ writes, man, I couldn't stand Sean Alexander. He would tear us up, though, with that 37, shaking my effing head. I didn't feel like we had Sean Alexander problems. Maybe we did. I never felt that way about him. He was a good football player. I'm not here to shit on him. I couldn't get with him. I wasn't a Sean Alexander fan. I really wasn't. Looked like he was always it's like, first of all, he ran with his entire foot. I can't stand guys that when they run, their entire foot hits the ground. Like he looked like he was trying to crush a bug every time he ran. You want to run on your toes. His whole foot would come down. He was a heavy-footed runner. He didn't do it for me. Thank you for the super chat, CPJ. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, give me some 44, baby. Rigo, Patterson, I'll buy that. Yeah, 44 is a no-go. Plus, nobody should be wearing 44 in this organization. That's one of those numbers that should be protected, and nobody should be touching that. And I don't think anybody has touched that since Rigo wore 44, and I don't think anybody will touch that. But, yeah, you can't wear it. I think Ahmad Bradshaw wore 43. Like, you can't. It's hard to get away with the 40s as a running back anymore. Once upon a time, that was a thing. Like, what was the number of all of the Syracuse running backs in the 60s? It was 44, right? That was the number, right? 44. Like that was the cool number back then, 44. Like, nobody's wearing that shit now. 43, Ahmad Bradshaw barely got away with 43, but he made it his own. Like, that's tough to pull off, man. A 40s number as a running back. Stephen Davis was 48. I think if you're a bigger back, it's easier to do. That's why what Ahmad Bradshaw did with 43 was pretty, astonishing. But he was also physical for a smaller back. But, Davis wore 48. You ain't going to find too many more guys. Like, there's certain numbers that you associate with guys. 48 for me is Stephen Davis. Like 37 is Larry Centers. I loved Larry Centers. And I loved him as an Arizona Cardinal. And then he came here to Washington and helped us win a division in 99. And he was huge that year. I loved Larry Centers. And so 37, I will accept 37 because of Larry Centers. There's certain numbers you accept because of certain players. It's just hard, man. There are certain numbers you just, that's nasty. There's some nasty numbers out there for certain positions. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat. Metaphor. Terry Maples. Double up. Thank you for the super chat, Terry Maples. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Terry Maples writes, Kamara, 41, dope. You're right. That is dope. And I told you, certain guys make numbers tolerable. Like, if Kamara was garbage, then 41 would be a problem for me. But he's nice, and it just looks sleek on his frame in that Saints uniform. You put Kamara in that same 41 in a Washington uniform, and that's nasty. I just think 41 looks good in that Saints uniform. You can't pull that off everywhere. He says, no more Alexa or fire alarms. I'm going to try to keep that to a minimum, man. But, yeah, that's a great point. Kamara in 41 is dope. And I think he can pull it off because, one, he's nasty, but two, it's the Saints uniform that makes the 41 not look too bad. I think you put that 41 in a number of different uniforms, and that shit is hideous, man. So I just think it's that New Orleans Saints uniform that allows him to pull that off too. But, yeah, like I told you, like when he retires, 41 for me will be synonymous with Alvin Kamara. Like, there's certain guys that they transcend the look of that number because they're so good that they become synonymous with that number. And he'll be one of those guys for me when it's all said and done. Thank you for the super chat, Terry Maples. Didn't the running back for the Cardinals, Kenyon Drake, wear 41? Isn't that what he wore in Arizona? I think. I could be wrong. Maybe he didn't wear 41. I'm thinking he might have wore 30 something. Anyway, I digress. Zulu Tribe 36. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Zulu Tribe 36. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, how many can we have on the practice squad and where does Sammy's land? I think they extended the practice squad. It used to be 7, I think. I think you can now keep 10 on the practice squad. It might be 12. Let's look it up. I don't want to guess. I don't want to speculate. Let's look it up. I think it's 10 now. It used to be 7, I think. How many players are NFL teams allowed on the practice squad? 16. Okay. So the practice squad can have up to 16 players and up to, it says, including up to 6 who have more than 2 accrued seasons. The ability to protect up to 4 practice squad players per week from being signed by other teams. So you could have 16 practice squad players. That's why we look it up, so we don't spread erroneous information, misinformation. That's not what we're looking to do. So 16 practice squad players, 6 of which can have more than 2 accrued seasons. So remember, before you couldn't have veterans on your practice squad. They had to have a limited amount of NFL experience. Now, 10 of those guys have to fit, below that guideline, but 6 of those guys could be 16-year veterans. It doesn't matter. And then 4 of those guys, as we learned last year, you can protect on a weekly basis. So if you having kicking issues, you could protect one of your kickers. If you got a guy you really love, like a Sammy Reyes, you protect him every single week. If he's not on the team, Sammy Reyes is making his football team, right? As of right now, he's making the football team. I haven't seen someone, with more promise or, more ability right now to keep him off of the roster. So if he's healthy, that's the biggest if, and I keep talking about that. If he's healthy, I think Sammy Reyes ends up on this football team. So let's hope that he's able to get back out to practice sometime early next week. But, it's a concussion. So these things take time. We'll see what happens with him. But I think that concussion happened on a Wednesday. So generally, these things take at least a week. So there's a realistic possibility that he doesn't play next week either. I mean, who are we kidding? I mean, Tamarick Hemingway got a concussion in the last game, and he hasn't practiced since. So, and again, they vary in degrees, and I've stated that already. But I if I had to guess right now, I'd say he's not playing in the preseason finale either. So we'll see. Right now, I've got Sammy's on the 53-man roster, but that could change. Thank you for the super chat, Zulu Tribe 36. Gunny Man, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Gunny Man, writes, it's good to see this team look like a professional organization 2 weeks straight. Clean game, efficient, and prepared to compete in all 3 phases. There's some hard decisions to make at wide receiver. I left this game feeling the same way. Like, no, was it the cleanest on offense? Absolutely not. Could we have executed better on the offensive side? Sure. But what we've essentially seen from this team is that they were highly competitive on all 3 phases. And we know that they're going to continue to play hard. That's something that they always do. So the professional organization thing, it's something that I think some of you are still getting used to. I saw enough last year, and going back to Ron's time in Carolina, what was the one thing you could always say about a Ron Rivera coached team? They're disciplined, they play hard, they play smart, they're tough, and they're not going to beat themselves. But that's the definition essentially of a professional outfit. That's what we got last year. Remember how penalized this team used to be under Jay Gruden? And how we knew we were going to have things crop up and penalties, deflate drives, and we were going to self-implode at some point. That didn't happen last year. We didn't beat ourselves last year. We didn't have a whole bunch of stupid penalties. We didn't make a bunch of boneheaded mistakes. We were well coached. We were disciplined. We were smart. We didn't always execute, but some of that was just lack of talent too, but we gave ourselves a chance on a weekly basis. And that's what professional outfits do. They don't beat themselves, and they give themselves a chance. So I'm kind of in the mindset of this is what we are now. I don't have to be surprised when I see it. That's the expectation now. So, and when you've been what we've been for so long, you keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, man, is this real? Yes, it's real. And you got to start telling yourself it's okay to expect this team to do things. I got to tell myself that all the time, because you want to go all in, but then in the back of your mind, you're saying, don't do it. You know what's going to happen if you do. And you got to fight against that mindset because it's counterproductive. The reason I'm comfortable not buying into this is because we don't have the quarterback. That makes it easy to say, hey, we got 50-50 at quarterback as our starter. You know what that means? It means that you're probably going to lose half of your games. That's what that means. And so that allows me to feel comfortable saying, not yet. Can't go all in yet. So we're going to look like a professional outfit because we are one. We're being coached by one. We're being run by one. So we are one now. How long will it last is the question before Daniel Snyder decides he wants in. It's not fun anymore. He wants some input. Maybe, just maybe, he'll stay the hell away and let the guys who are being paid to do their job do their job. But we'll see. Thank you for the super chat, Gunny Man. Got another super chat. This one is from Nick Forbush. Thank you for the super chat, Nick Forbush. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, where is AGG now on the depth chart after tonight? I don't know if the depth chart necessarily changes any. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where you are on the depth chart. What matters is we're keeping 6. Are you one of those 6? That's what it all boils down to. I've already said this, and I don't want to keep beating a dead horse because this is where I've been all the time. And was tonight a good night for AGG? Yes. Was it enough to move the needle for the coaching staff? I don't know. I just know they like him. I know they drafted him. So I know that counts, and that counts for something, and that means something. But at the end of the day, my mindset has always been AGG is making the team. Remember when I gave you my 5 declarations, before camp, and I said these are subject to change, but I said these are my 5 declarations before camp. I think number 5, if I'm not mistaken, I know it was one of the 5. I think it was number 5. AGG is going to make this roster. That was one of my declarations. I'm not backing off. I didn't back off of it last week. I'm not even more gung-ho this week because of his performance. That's what I said, and I told you guys from the jump. I said, until he's not on the roster, he's making the roster. I'm going to die on that hill. I am going to sink with that ship. So we'll see. So to me, AGG is not necessarily where he is on the depth chart as much as it is he's one of 6. That's all we need to be concerned with. He's one of 6. To me, at least. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Nick Forbush. Also, Nick Forbush. So you just switching up logos and whatnot. Thank you for the super chat, Nick Forbush. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. My man Nick writes, great night tonight by AGG. 53 after tonight. He was 53 for me already before tonight. So, again, I thought I saw a tweet from somebody. It might have been JP Finley. It might have been my guy from The Athletic, Ben Standig. It was one of those two. Might have even been John Com. I get so many tweets from those dudes on my timeline that it starts to bleed together at certain points. I think it was either John Com or Ben Standig. I don't think it was JP Finley. I think it was John Com, actually, but whatever. The tweet pretty much said, when analyzing the roster and looking at the 53, it's not just about this year. It's also about the future. A lot of you guys get caught up in what's happening right now. Oh, this guy stunk tonight. He's not on the roster. Oh, this guy had a great game. He's on the roster now. The staff isn't that finicky, okay? They're not living and dying with every play and every possession. They're thinking big picture. They're at practice every day. We are not. They have plans for some of these players. Some of you can only think within the scope of this year, and that's okay. Sometimes it's good to have a narrow focus. But if you're being a realistic fan, then you know it's not always just about this year. It's about next year and the year after that and how this guy projects. He may not be ready right now to be the elite player that we drafted him to be, but we think in 3 years he can be. And we want to continue working with him. But guess what? He's good enough to contribute now. He's just not the player we think he's going to be 3 years down the road. So a guy like AGG that you guys think stinks and isn't ready and he's this and he's that, in their mind, they're saying, look, this guy last year didn't even count. And some of that, for some of you out there, that's hard to believe. You can't fathom that last year simply was a red shirt for this kid. Okay? You're holding that against him like he dropped 27 balls last year. The fact of the matter is, they drafted AGG, and he's got 3 years left of a rookie contract. They think this guy's got immense potential, which is why they drafted him. They're not going to just give up on him if they think there's still something there worth salvaging. And I hate even using the word salvage because that would mean that he was lost at some point last year and you had to go and bring him back. And was he lost from a mental standpoint? Sure. But he didn't get to play enough. He didn't have enough experience for you to even feel like he was disappointing. He just was invisible. He was hurt. He didn't know what the hell was going on. I always think about that Giants game, and they were running RPO. And Kyle Allen raises up off the RPO, and he's looking to fire. And AGG's taking off down the field. He's gone. And Kyle Allen's throwing a quick out. And it's supposed to be a 5-yard speed cut. It's run pass option. And so they're running quick routes with that because the next guy that got in ran the out. And they threw it to him. So I know it was supposed to be an out. And Kyle Allen was right. And I just remember AGG taking off down the sideline and him looking back because nobody else is running. He's the only guy running on the play. And because the play's over, Kyle Allen already threw the out and he's not there. And he's looking back like, what the hell just happened? And I think that was one of those moments where I was like, okay, get the kid out of there. He just doesn't know what the hell's going on right now. His head was spinning last year, man. Like, a lot of you don't take into consideration the big picture. You want to talk about right now. And that's not how all decisions are made. They're not made in this bubble of what can you do for me right now. A lot of decisions are, but not all of them are. Some of these decisions are, we like you and we think you project to this in the future, so we're going to keep you. Case in point, Jaret Patterson. You guys think, like, I'm seeing some comments, and again, some of you, I'm seeing Jaret Patterson's going to have 1,000 yards this year. Okay, sure. Again, if something catastrophic happens, maybe he gets in and he tears it up. But if everybody's healthy, you won't even see Jaret Patterson hardly this year. Okay? Understand that. This guy probably won't even be active for a lot of games, more likely than not. So what I'm essentially telling you is that they're keeping Jaret Patterson on the roster, not because they think he's going to be a vital contributor this year. They're keeping Jaret Patterson because they think his long-term prospects on this roster is something that they can get behind and may actually pay dividends for them 2-3 years down the road. You gotta think about these things. And a lot of you don't. So when you ask me, great night for AGG tonight, did that change his roster prospects? Maybe it did. Maybe it made them feel a little bit more comfortable with what he can do. But again, they've been watching him in practice. So what he did tonight might have been a carryover from what they've seen in practice already. They know he's capable. For us who aren't watching him in practice, we need to see it on game day, because we're not seeing it in practice every day. But the bottom line is, in their mind, they were never cutting AGG. And I can't say that with 100% certainty. I can't confirm nor deny that. I'm just telling you, more likely than not, in their mind, they weren't cutting AGG. They really think this kid has a chance to be really good. And he can really give them something that not a lot of receivers on this roster can give them, which is size and physicality. And they would hate to see him get cut and end up somewhere else, because that's more likely than not what would happen. You cut him, he ends up with the Indianapolis Colts, or he ends up with the Jacksonville Jaguars, or he ends up with the Houston Texans, or he ends up in Atlanta, where Kyle Smith is. They don't have a lot of receivers out there, so they could use an Antonio Gandy Golden. They don't want that to happen. Anyway, I digress. I think he's making the football team, and I thought he was making it before tonight, Nick. So I don't think anything really changed with tonight. Got a super chat here from Rashad Brooks. Thank you for the super chat, Rashad. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Rashad Brooks, writes, what up, Lou? What up, Rashad? Says, Patterson is making the team. Correct. He is just making too many plays. Running, catching, returning. De'Ami Brown will be a problem also. I agree with your entire statement wholeheartedly. That's part of the reason Jaret Patterson is making a football team. Is you can't ignore him. There's too many things that he has done and done really well to turn a blind eye to it. You know, can't try to hide him on the roster anymore. I mean, you know, and sneak him to the practice squad anymore. Other teams are taking notice. So that ship has sailed. And De'Ami Brown, he's going to be really good. Love the catch tonight. You know, adjusting to the football, going and getting it. I love it. So I like what I've seen out of De'Ami Brown and, of course, Jaret Patterson. Thank you for the super chat, Rashad Brooks. SPC Chance Richardson. Thank you for the super chat. SPC Chance Richardson writes, don't forget he can wear 1 through 19 now. He can, but does he want to is the question. Because I think equally as odd are, you know, teens numbers from running backs, because we've never seen it before. I know that the Eagles running back that went to Memphis, because that was a thing at Memphis. A lot of those, you know, running back hybrid types were wearing numbers in the teens. and they took a running back from Memphis. I forgot his name, but I think he wears 19. He wore 19 in college. So you're going to see that, obviously. Gibson wore 14 at Memphis. Obviously, he's wearing 24, and he's not changing. But he could theoretically put that on. What was Patterson's number in college at Buffalo? I don't remember. Wasn't it? It was 20? Was it 20? It was 20 something. It's 22 or it was 20. I know it wasn't 21. I know it wasn't 23. I don't think it was 24, 25. It might have been 26. It was either 20, 22, or 26. I think it was 26, now that I'm thinking about it. Either way, he was in the 20s. I don't see him putting on a number in the teens. But I don't know. He may not even give a shit about his number. He might be cool with 35. We'll see. But he can wear 1 through 19. That's a very valid point as well. Will Morris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Will, thank you for the contribution. Who writes, my man, Louie Tee, double E, if you please. Appreciate all you do. Man, I'm stoked for the real bullets to start flying. Is this just preseason shine, or is the D already clamping down? No, it's just preseason shine. It's, again, we saw a Patriots offense that, for all intents and purposes, we're kind of going through the motions. You know, it was the first preseason game for everybody, so you got what you got. And like I said, we handled it well. We played well. We forced the fumble of Cam Newton, all of that good jazz. And this Bengals team wasn't going to put up much resistance. I told you guys I would be disappointed. Anything less than defensive dominance tonight would be uncivilized. Because they didn't have Joe Burrow. I told you their quarterbacks stink without Burrow. So if they put up numbers on us offensively, I was going to be pretty peed, because that would not bode well for, Mahomes and all of these other guys that we're going to see. Rodgers and Wilson and Herbert, and the list goes on and on. Allen and all of these guys that we got to contend with. Brady. If we can't shut down Brandon Allen, we're in trouble. So we did what we were supposed to do tonight. And there were opportunities for the Bengals to do some things, and Brandon Allen just wasn't going to do it. So, it's preseason shine, man. And it's not going to be much different next week against the Ravens. They may not even play anybody next week. So we'll see. That's not our problem. Whoever is on the field, we need to put out a good performance and effort. And we've done that to this point. That's all I'm concerned about. I could care less who the other team is putting on the field. That's going to change my expectations, obviously. Okay, no Joe Burrow, okay, dominate their ass. But that's what I expected, and they did what I expected them to do. So we're going to see. We still haven't had the full defense out there one time yet. The first week, there was no Montez Sweat. This week, there was no starting corners. Like, we're still playing around with guys. So we still don't know what this defense truly is quite yet. So, nah, not yet. Don't get too excited yet, Will. Be excited though, but don't think that we're already trending towards dominance. Don't think that yet. Not till we get to the regular season. I'm with you though, man. I'm ready for this preseason stuff. Like, I got hype about the first game because I was ready to see the fellas. Now I'm being reminded why preseason is the preseason. And I think a lot of you are as well. It's preseason. I missed it last year, and now I'm like, nah, I didn't really miss it. But I did, because I want to see football. So I'm ready for the regular season to get underway, though, as are you. Thank you for the super chat, Will. Greatly appreciate you. Quentin Ruiz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Quentin Ruiz, writes, Sims Jr. gone? Yeah, he's gone. No doubt about it. for sure. Tasaga Asmaram. Thank you for the super chat. Tasaga Asmaram writes, did you see Washington changing the QB starter throughout the season? Not because of bad QB play, but just because they think another guy can do better. It just, all of that would depend on the play of the quarterback. So obviously what you're asking is, could there be a scenario in which Washington decides we're going to bench Ryan Fitzpatrick for Taylor Heineke, and physically nothing's wrong with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They just want to go with Heineke. Similar to what Ron did with Dwayne last year. There was nothing physically wrong with Dwayne. He just didn't think Dwayne gave us the best chance to win. So he put Kyle Allen in. Could that happen again this year? Sure. Absolutely it could. Without a doubt. And this is where, and I've said this already, the only way Taylor Heineke gets in, if no injury occurs, is if Ron Rivera feels like this team is being held back by one man, and that one man is the quarterback. That's how he felt last year. Dwayne didn't give us a chance to win on a weekly basis, so he put Kyle Allen in because he did. He gave us a better chance. If at any point they look at the quarterback position, they don't feel like they're getting enough out of it, and they feel like we could be so much better if we got more out of it, and we think Taylor Heineke may be a guy that could give us a spark, that's when that change is made. But it would have to literally be the defense is playing their asses off, and we're not getting enough out of the offense. And the reason we're not getting enough out of the offense is because the quarterback. Again, back to that bottlenecking reference that I gave you guys a couple weeks ago. You know, offense is talented, and they feel like they've got weapons. They went out this offseason and they acquired all of this weaponry so that this offense could be a lot more dynamic and explosive. And if they feel like, look, the weapons aren't failing us, it's the guy handling the weapons. What did I say about Daniel Jones? I said the Giants got guns and shit. They got guns and shit. They went out and got Kenny Golladay. They drafted Kadarius Toney. They went and got John Ross. They went out and got Kyle Rudolph. They got guns and shit. And you add that to what they already had, Evan Ingram and Darius Slayton and Saquon Barkley. They already had weapons, and Sterling Shepard. The Giants got guns and shit, but it doesn't matter if you've got guns if the guy pulling the trigger doesn't know what the hell he's doing, or is afraid, or can't aim. That's the same thing here. We got guns and shit. We got weapons. But if the guy pulling the trigger is a terrible shot, or he's afraid to pull the trigger, or he's finicky, he's squeamish, then you got to get somebody else in there. We out here hunting to eat. And when you staring down that gun barrel and you see the target and you got a chance to pull the trigger, you got to pull the trigger. That's why they went out and got Fitz. Because last year, even though we didn't have a lot of weapons, when those weapons had opportunities to make plays, our guys were afraid to pull the trigger. Or one in particular was afraid. Well, shit, no. I'm not going to single out one. There were several guys that were afraid to pull the trigger. Or they were a horrible shot. Or they ready to go for the safe shot, the one right in front of them. They didn't want to shoot the one, 40 yards away. They wanted the safe shot right in front of their face. Well, they're not worried about that with Ryan Fitzpatrick. But if it ever gets to a point where they feel like he's holding this team back, yes, they would make the switch like they did last year and swapping out Dwayne for Kyle Allen. I think it'd take a lot to get there, and I don't think we will get there, but it could happen without a doubt. Thank you for the super chat to Saga Asmaram. Got another super chat. This one is from Gunnyman. Double up. Thank you for doubling it up, Gunnyman. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Gunnyman writes, I'm positive, but We lack in depth and talent outside. Davis, Holcomb, and Hudson have heart, but he's lightweight. He said, we're going to have to purge someone's roster for linebacker help. I've always said that linebacker would be the one position if we decided to go outside of this building for an answer, it'd be at the linebacker position. I don't think it'll be at any other position. I think they feel really good about all their positions, but I say that, and I don't know if they're going elsewhere for the linebacker position either. I think we feel like the linebacker position isn't good enough. I think they feel totally fine. I'll put it to you this way. You don't keep two guys on your roster that are strictly special teams players, essentially, if you don't feel good about your linebackers. If you don't feel good about the depth you have, then you can't possibly feel like it's okay to dedicate two roster spots to core special teamers, essentially. Because that's what David Mayo is. David Mayo can play in the league. Like, he can, like, in a pinch, he can go out on the field and play middle linebacker for you. He's not like Jared Norris, where you're like, no. He like essentially just a special teams guy, sort of like David. It's like Slater for all those years in New England. Like, he wasn't anything but a special teams dude. That was it. You weren't going to see him at receiver very often. Every now and again, he might get a bone, but he's a special teams dude. That's how he cut his teeth. That's how he's making his money. Same thing with Jared Norris. That's it. He's a special teams dude. So I think we might be overstating the lack of depth at linebacker. I think they think they're fine. So we'll see. We'll see. Thank you for the super chat, Gunny Man. Got another one from Gunny Man. Thank you for tripling up, Gunny Man. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Gunny Man, writes, Patterson also working with B. Mitch on kick and punt returns, according to B. Mitch and J.P. Finley. That's great. If that is true, that's great news. And they have similar backgrounds in terms of not really having done it in college. B. Mitch was obviously a quarterback, an option quarterback in college. So he didn't do it until he got to the NFL. And Patterson didn't do it because he was the best player on the team and their running back. So similar backgrounds from that standpoint, similar stature. I think B. Mitch is a little bit taller than Jaret Patterson, but it's not much difference there. Both of those guys are pretty diminutive, but stocky guys, physical too. So I love it. I love that B. Mitch is giving them some pointers. Hopefully, it's something that Jaret Patterson can do. Because again, it'll really help make it a lot easier when it comes to roster decisions. If this guy can handle both the kickoff and punt return duties, it'd make things a lot easier. That's for damn sure. So thank you for that super chat, Gunny Man. Got another one here from Jason Files. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Jason Files. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jason Files, writes, what up, Lou? What up, Jason? Says, thanks for all that you do. Thank you for all the support that you continue to provide the Louie Tee Network. He says, it just feels different. We're not fighting over players that won't make other teams. And that's what I've been saying for a while now. Like, even last night's video, I said, this feels different. And I wasn't saying it because of that particular reason, but I've stated that before in the past, that this is different because of the depth that we have now. We're not fighting over table scraps anymore. Like, we're not, debating over whether we should keep Trey Quinn or not, or we should keep, Ryan Grant anymore. Like, there won't be any Dontrell Inmans on this team this year. Okay, guys that get cut in season because they're not very good. Like, that's not our life anymore. We've graduated to professional outfit. So even if we cut guys, they're going to have a chance to latch on elsewhere and play in this league, because we have NFL players for the first time in a long time everywhere. So I feel really good. And so should you. So should you. It does feel good. It feels good. Yeah, it feels good. Yeah, it feels real good. Sure feels good to me. Thank you for the super chat, Jason Fios. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, what'd you think of Jamar Chase's play? I was not impressed at all, but I think he's going to be fine. Like, he's going to be just fine. I think he made some business decisions tonight. And it's the preseason. And it's so easy to get trapped in that frame of mind. It's the preseason. I don't give a shit. My guy's not out here. These don't matter. He knows he's making a football team. So, it's so easy for a guy to just pass on the preseason or pass on a game in the preseason. I thought tonight it was a ho-hum effort from him. Like, whatever. Like, even, I don't know if you guys remember this. The first game against Dallas, CeeDee Lamb had a couple of big drops in that game, if you remember. It doesn't mean he's not a good player. Just had some drops. They happen from time to time. And now, if you got elite hands and concentration, they don't happen from time to time. Okay. But, with certain guys, they happen from. And Jamar Chase, if you watch enough tape, you would see from time to time a drop from Jamar Chase. It happens. And you saw it tonight. And, a couple of them were business decisions. You bet your ass they were. See a safety. I could catch this. But I want to practice next week, and I don't want to sit out because I got a concussion. Because I decided to go He-Man in a meaningless preseason game. So, did he look like the first overall receiver taken in the draft? No, he didn't look like that tonight. Do I think he's the number one overall receiver taken in last year's draft? Yep. Would I take him again? Yep. And I think Jalen Waddle is right there with him. But I take Jamar Chase. I think he's going to be just fine. I am not worried. And if you're a Bengals fan, I wouldn't be worried. But no, tonight wasn't a great night for him, to say the least. Thank you for the super chat, Red Wings 01. And that is the final super chat of the night. So that's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. And so I will ask you guys one final time to hit the subscribe button for more great content if you haven't already done so. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and hit the like button if you haven't done that already as well. I am a Washington fan, edged in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to the beloved Washington football team. If you haven't had a chance to check out the video that I put out earlier yesterday, now that it is past 12 o'clock midnight on the East Coast, or shit is going on 2 o'clock as it stands right now. If you haven't had a chance to check that out about the Mob Squad, please check that video out. And there'll be another video more likely than not tomorrow to follow up, to finalize everything, and to announce the official launch of the YouTube Join, aka the Mob Squad. So if you haven't done that, check that video out, and I look forward to chopping it up again with you guys tomorrow. Washington gets the 17-13 victory for their first win of the preseason. Defense was suffocating in the first half. Offense, still working out the kinks, and we'll continue to watch them grow, hopefully be ready for week 1 versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me and holding me down for damn near 3 hours after a 11 o'clock finish with a preseason game. You guys are effing awesome. Until next time, I'm your man Louie T, signing off, telling you to get off the bench and kick it with me, your man Louie T. You guys have a good one.